morning. I'm calling the Municipal Service and Properties Committee to order. Today is May 6th. Can you believe it is May 6th, 2024? Madam Secretary, can you call the roll? Here.
Present.
Crystal.
Here.
Jones. Casey.
Present.
Kelly.
Present.
Moore. Mr. Chairman, you have four.
Madam Secretary, can you please excuse the absence of Councilman Jones? Okay. All right. First, we're going to have our guest from the Municipal School District approach the table with the director. Good morning, Director.
Good morning, Chair.
Good morning to our guests.
Good morning.
Director, can you first start out by just telling us who's with us this morning?
Sure, Chairman Bishop, thank you for this opportunity to be with you today. I'll let everyone introduce themselves from the CMSD. We appreciate them being here to present on our extracurricular activities program piece that's before you today, and I'll yield to the table.
Desiree Powell, the Executive Director of Athletics and Student Activities.
Trent Mosley, Chief of Equity and Culture for the district.
Jeffrey Allen, Executive Director of Fine Arts.
Chief Pomerantz from Mayor's Office.
Okay, thank you. And I guess we can introduce ourselves. I'm Councilman Bishop. I'm the Chairman of Municipal Services.
Councilman Richard Starr, Vice Chair.
Councilman Danny Kelly, Ward 11. Nice to have you here, folks. Thank you.
Councilman Brian Casey, Ward 16. Councilman Anthony Harrison, Ward 10. Good morning.
All right, Director.
All right, thank you, Chair. The Comprehensive Extracurricular Activities Program is an annually funded program under Ordinance Number 102595. Tax revenues from levying the parking facility tax and increases in motor vehicle lessor tax and admissions tax will be used to fund the recreational, cultural, and extracurricular programs within with the Cleveland Board of Education. Examples of programming would include dance, drama, instrumental, vocal, cheerleading, aquatics, sports, and academic enrichment programming. This programming is funded based on a reimbursement process, and the CMSD annually provides financial and programmatic documentation that supports the program. That analysis is performed by a private consultant and will be available in the fall. And I yield to any questions, and we do have a presentation from our guests.
Okay, so first, Director, can we kind of set the table as far as how long this funding has been administered to the CMSD, his backdrop on it, because we got newer members. This goes back a lot further than we go back. So I just want everybody to understand, and I want some understanding also about how this came about, okay?
Through the chair, I will let our guest speak to it further, but this is my understanding that it started in 1995 and has progressed throughout the years. It also predates me as well.
Okay. Okay.
So before we get started, just want to thank everyone here as we enter our 29th year of this opportunity for our children. It's largely due because of the work that you lead and do in support of children of CMSD. And so as I turn it over to Desiree, who will go through our presentation, if you have questions as we go through it, please do not hesitate to ask.
Okay.
I have a copy of the PowerPoint that was sent in case anyone needed a written copy or.
We have it on our tablets here,
Okay.
so we and I don't want to speak for everybody, but if we want anybody want a paper copy? Okay, we got it on the tablets. Great.
Okay. So basically what's funded is the 6 through 8 coaching stipends, which each school is given a certain amount based on future student enrollment. You have the K-8 educationally based field experiences. Then you have our 9 through 12 athletic and student activities, and then you have K-12 art and music.
Okay, Director, can you just pause just for a minute?
Yes.
I had made an error. Okay, this is ordinance number 442, 2024 by council members Bishop and Griffin. This is a departmental request. This is an emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Works and Finance to enter into one or more contracts with the Cleveland Metropolitan School District to conduct recreational, cultural, and extracurricular programs for the benefit of school children during the 2023-2024 school year. Okay, Director, you can proceed.
Okay. The breakdown of the funds that we receive, we give $200,000 to the elementary non-educational extracurricular programs, such as chess and things of that sort, e-sport. Then we have $292,000 going to our K-8 athletics and student activities. We have $114,000 going to high school athletics, and then $202,000 going to art education, and then $123,000 going to high school extracurricular activities. And then we pay $18,000 for a formal evaluation of all the funds and the programming. And as you go through the slides, you'll see some of the experiences they receive for the field trips. This is just some of many. The Nature Center, the Holden Farms, aquarium, drink local tap water, things of that nature. And if you go to the 6th through 8th grade, what we did do is we started doing 6th through 8th grade instead of just 7th through 8th grade. So this will be our 3rd year going into 6th through 8th. And we do volleyball. You see the numbers there that represents how many K-8 schools are participating in those particular sports. So you've got the boys and girls basketball, soccer, track, chess, cheer, and volleyball. Then you have the 9th to 12th grade athletic and student activities. And within those boxes, you'll see we have 13 Senate schools. So when you see 13, that means all of our high school Senate schools are participating in boys cross country, or we have 9 football teams and 13 girls volleyball, 13 boys basketball, things of that nature, 10 teams participating in bowling. Fine arts in all city, they're supported by a variety of programs. Music, art, dance, drama, supports all city participants. 285 students performed at Winter All City Concert on December 13th of 23. 300 to 400 students are expected to participate on May 11th at the Rock Your World with Steam. And for music, you have the numbers of how many schools are participating in these things. So for K-8 bands, there's a total of 32 K-8 schools doing that, 5 high school bands, 14 choirs, 7 K-8 orchestras, 2 high school orchestras, and 14 Disney musicals. And Executive Director Jeffrey Allen can speak more to that if you want.
Sure, just continuing forward. In our visual arts space, we, in addition to general art occurring in every building and general music occurs in every K-8 building, we've grown to have 35 painting programs, 38 drawing programs, 29 ceramic or 3D programs, and 9 that we classify as other, which would be jewelry, animation, studio arts of any kind.
So outside of that, this opportunity that you've granted us over 29 years has allowed our scholars to excel in a number of ways. We've been fortunate and blessed to partner with you in order to give these experiences to our kids. It attracts students to CMSD, and despite our physical challenges, we've committed to protecting our school budgets, so funding is now more important than ever. SEEP has provided better grades and better attendance, which equals school retention. And every year we've done the evaluation. It's proved that those students that have participated in the SEEP programming have had increased grades and attendance. And we just want to take this time to thank you for everything that you do for our kids.
Okay, thank you. Executive Director, right?
Powell.
Executive Director?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Executive Director. So I know you touched on like the number of teams you have, like you have 56 boys basketball teams from 6 through 8. So is there any way for us to know, let's say like you have 10 schools without a program, or you have, 3 schools without a program, what percentage of your 6 through 8 schools have this program? Do you have that number?
Have the program as a whole or a particular sport or activity?
Like you might could say like 90% of our schools 6 through 8 have boys basketball, or 70% of our schools have boys basketball. See, we can see that we have 56 schools, but how many schools where there is a lack of a team? Do you have that information?
We can get that. The principals are the ones that choose which sports they want. But the majority, we have 66, 69 K-8 buildings.
Correct.
So you can see which sports they gravitate to. And then the seat funding, we tell them what they have to choose the number of coaches that they would like to have for that, or for the things that they would like to have, and then they do their school budget to supplement anything else that the seat funds cannot cover. So then they pick and choose what they want based off of that. But yes, it's a good 80%, 85%.
So Councilman Bishop, what I hear you asking is that you want to know the difference between who has what and who doesn't have that particular option.
Well, I'm not exactly sure. I'm interested in seeing what schools have what, just the percentage of schools that have these programs and the percentage of schools that doesn't have these programs. Like right now, I'm from the top of my head, I can see that I don't see anybody have a baseball team.
Gotcha.
So do we have baseball?
K-8, we do not offer baseball and softball.
Okay. Do you have any statistics on baseball in the high schools?
High schools, I believe we have, is it in here? Let's see. I think we have 8 or 9. Yeah, 8 or 9 baseball and softball.
Okay.
It's not in all 13.
Now, these programs, so the difference between the boys' basketball and the girls' basketball, is that because some schools are gender specific? Is that?
No, it's actually, I'm losing girls in athletics, and a lot of girls aren't coming out like they used to.
Okay.
So that's why there would be a difference between boys and girls.
Okay. So, because I see the boys track and girls track, you got 30 and 30. So I'm assuming that where boys run, girls run also, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. I want to open this up to questions from my colleagues. Councilman Starr.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, CMSD, for coming to the table today. My question regarding, I know this has been done since '98. So I had the honor and pleasure of playing sports through CMSD as I was coming up. But my question is, when have we done, or have CMSD complete analysis of sports athletic department, or any type of, or what is the actual strategic plan for sports in CMSD regarding the things that we have in place as far as after-school activities and the sports, through the chair to anyone at the table?
Trying to make sure I understand the question. So, for instance, we've started esports. We reviewed our programming and realized that we needed to start esports so that our kids would not be left behind compared to the other schools in the suburbs and whatnot. So we've been reviewing what we have not offered so that we can try to bring to them so that there's equity between us and the outside school districts.
Yes, and to that point, through the chair, I will ask, when it comes to sports and athletics, I think we have some different confusion. And what I mean by that is, every school is not set up to do all these sports. But then it takes away from certain schools ability to have different programming. Prime example, if you're, not a charter school, a much smaller school, and you got a football program, and you only got 100 kids in a school, now you look at the competition or the way they compete, you look at it from a standpoint like, what is the point of having that program offered? So when I'm talking about the SWOT analysis, that we took a deep dive into how our athletic programs are set up. I know the changes happened in '98 based on this PowerPoint presentation, where the overall Cleveland Center Athletic Council came up with this new concept. But what bothers me is we have your top tier programs that can produce different teams, but then you also have our smaller schools trying to do the same thing as these other schools, and then you look at the league, in my sense, it becomes more so watered down. And then it becomes a safety issue as far as that smaller school not having enough players and they still trying to have a league. So through the chair, I'm saying, do we have a overall athletic program plan that outlines the budget, the breakdown, where's funding coming from? How do we program? How do you staff? How do you pay? Because I see all these different tiers from the elementary schools, which is one thing, and then I see that the principals can choose. I'm just saying overall, how do we know if our programs are being more successful with our vision that CMSD has set forth? Through the chair.
Can I start off? Thank you, Councilman Starr. So there's a two-part to your question. One is around strategy, the other is around execution. So we just put in place a department called District-Wide After-Schools Program that will be looking at all of the after-school programs that we offer, athletics, chess, everything that's offered for our students. That particular department will be working in consultation with Desiree Powell, the Executive Director of Athletics, to do exactly what you're asking for. For instance, doing a SWOT analysis. What's working in one school? Can we scale those supports into those schools who do not have a particular program for whatever reason? What we haven't done in the past is identify what those gaps are. We're doing that now.
Okay, thank you. And then overall, because I know I go to a lot of games, I'm planning on coming to the track meet tomorrow for the championship. So one of the things I'm thinking of is I've seen some basketball schools, and I'm like, this school has never been designed for basketball, and they're playing against a strong powerhouse basketball school, and it's like, I don't think it do a service for it. You know, if I'm more about the visual arts or different programming, let my school master that. If I want to play sports, I should go to a different school. But then also, I think just how the district has opened up everything and kids can go wherever they want, is a great thing, but also it's a disservice. We don't have the culture of the community no more. I'm proud to say that I'm a graduate of East Tech. I'm proud to say that I lived in King Kennedy and walked to school every day. I couldn't imagine myself waking up on time to catch 3 or 4 buses to travel all the way across the town or the city to go do something that should be offered in my backyard, at my home school. But my question would be, what is the overall athletic budget for CMSD from K through 8 as well as 9 to 12? So how much is it to do these different programs overall? I know we're only allocating $950,000 overall. How much is it cost to run your department through the chair to Ms. Executive Director, Ms. Powell?
And to Nikita, the total of our budget?
Total for our budget, CMSD budget is
2.6 million.
Wait, whoa. So now I understand why we have track programs that don't have running shoes. We got football programs that don't have weight rooms. But we talking about we want to be a powerhouse and compete with other schools that have these different things that we oftentimes play sports against. I mean, a $2.6 million budget, and I believe CMSD have, I think it's like 1.1 or 2, almost $2 billion budget, and we only putting 2.6 million into athletics. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. This has been set up since 1998. And I know we're doing our part as council with our allocation of $950,000. So that means our $950,000 plus another $1.1 million or $1.5 million is like close to like 45, almost 45% of the budget. Chair, I'm gonna be cool. It's like the district do not understand what is needed in our school for us to help our kids to be more successful. Sports saved my life, so I'm gonna always advocate for our kids and extracurricular activities. But $2.6 million out of billions of dollars is like a joke to me. And the way our kids are developing, they're not getting all of the support that they need. Like I just said, there just was a wonderful article ran about East Tech and the history of East Tech track program when it talked about Jesse Owens and it talked about Harrison Diller and it talked about the legends that have came out and they played sports. And now you look at it now, the track room in East Tech needs maintenance. The football field across the street needs a new gate, need maintenance. The weight room non-existence. But I understand why, because the district only put in $2.6 million. So it's never against, through the chair, Ms. Desiree Powell, it's not her, it's the system and the leadership. But you look up and you see all these promotions and top-heavy positions through the district, getting all this money. We're on a deficit, people still getting raises, because I read everything. And we see what's going on, but we only put in $2.6 million of a CMSD budget for after-school program and sports and recreation is a joke. And that is very disrespectful. So my question is, through the chair, where's Dr. Morgan at? He ain't coming today, Chairman, or to the table?
Councilman Starr, Dr. Morgan was unable to be here. While he would have liked to have been here, his schedule would not have allowed it. But
Okay.
what I will do, because I'm also an athlete, so I understand your question around the importance of athletics. I think all the things that I've heard you say, the one action item that I have from this meeting, particularly to your question, Councilman Starr, is to take that information back to Dr. Morgan, our Chief Financial Officer, and then give you a rationale in terms of why things exist the way they do. Because there may be, and I don't have the answer to your question, but I'll work to get it for you.
Yes, and Chair, and to my council colleagues, everyone know that CMSD is very important to me and our students. And it's kind of hard for me seeing that we're pacifying things. So it's like, even though we're giving $1 million or $950,000, I mean, that's cool, but it's not really taking care of the actual athletic, after-school, curricular programs that we need. It's not. I'm thankful for the athletic department team for doing their best to be able to still provide extracurricular activities. But now I understand when I go to these games why it's a big difference between our games. And then also just the timing and the framing and the amount of things that we do. We're the only district that hosts football games at 3 o'clock. So you telling me if I'm a parent, and we talk about parent engagement, members of here at this committee are parents, and I've had children, I got to try to get to their game at 3 o'clock. Anybody else have Friday night games? Everybody. But we spend $2.6 million, so we can't have the security. We can't have things in place. I mean, I got an undergrad in sports management, so thank you, Baldwin Wallace, for helping open my mind about how things should be done. But it's like, I can't believe we really got a $2.6 million athletic budget. And then the high school coaches are telling me that I've spoke to that with the budget deficit, that they're making another cut to the football and the sports in the fall. East Tech, for one, because that's one of the high schools in my neighborhood, they don't even got headsets to operate on the football. They got the headsets that, rest in peace, Coach Gary Stuber used to have when I played. And I'm like, these things are old. Like, and those a couple grand to get those things up. So it's like we getting what we put out. And if we're only going into the district, is only going to spend $2.6 million on sports and athletics, and then you look at the other things districts spend money on, man, it's sad. And it's just, I'm not going to keep beating up on it, Chairman, but it's just really sad to me to see that we spend that little amount of money on something that is very important to our kids. And then the way we operate it, I don't think it's up to date on what we should be doing. I mean, we're doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. But like I said, sports saved my life. those coaches, those after-school programs, from wrestling to weightlifting to football, to then being my class president, to me then doing all these great things through sports, through CMSD. Because like, even with this change, in 95, I was 7 years old. So I was a product of all this. So it's like, to see that we really haven't put no real investment into after-school programming and sports is just disheartening to me, Chairman, as well as my members of the committee, and I feel really difficult, or I don't know if I would like to support this at this time. I want to see what we're going to actually do. What is the district going to do? Okay, we give $950,000. It covers cross-country and the 9 through 12 programs, volleyball, soccer, golf, but we're talking about on the return on our investment. What is the return on our investment? How is it break down? I know we have just a broad number to show that we do $200,000 for the 6 to 8, but what does that encompass? How is it being done? I obviously want to make sure coaches is getting paid to do their thing, but also they need to have the resources to help them to be successful. And then obviously I know I've been open about the selection of coaches. Like, we still have it set up that unless you're not in the union, you can't coach in our sports. So I definitely will tell you, Chairperson, before I support this, I would love to see more differences and more changes. I would love to see that strategic plan that they're working on, the outline of what is going on, because like I said, if we're putting up $950,000 of a $2.6 million budget, which is close to almost 50%, in some cases around the 40% ranges, I think we should see more done with our after-school programming for our kids, and also we should be lobbying the district to do more and spend more into our athletics. We can't say we want athletics to be competing with other school districts that's in Northeast Ohio, and then we don't give all the support that we need. I would definitely say I would be remiss if I do not acknowledge the fact that Ted Ginn has one of the best programs that this city has ever saw as far as public school education and after-school programming, and why don't we have the same model going around in all of our schools? Why don't we have the same academic programming that John Hay has in all of our schools? Why don't we have the same trade initiatives that we have at Garrett Morgan in all of our schools? These are all after-school programs. These are all different curriculums that we just offered in certain areas, but I have to wake up and catch 8 or 3 or 4 buses just to become a part of that program. So these things needs to be addressed. I know I've been talking about this for the last 2 or 3 years, and I'm telling you, Chairman, I do not see myself supporting this today until we get a real actual plan on what is going on with the CMSD athletics, and as well as the coaches. The coaches are being told in the fall that the budget is being cut. They can't do some of the things that they've been needing, and they can't get some of the resources. So it's hard for me to support this, Chair.
All right, thank you, Councilman Starr. Councilman Starr, you actually bring up a great point that our commitment here at City Hall is solid, and we just want commitments from the district to actually make programs for athletics meaningful for our children across the district. Next, I'm going to go to Councilman Brian Casey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, every year that I've been on council, this has always been a controversial piece because when we ask questions, we're anti-CMSD or we're anti-kids. And for 10 years, I've been asking questions and don't always get the answer. But, Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Mosley, knowing that we've got a piece of legislation in front of us today for $950,000, and to hear that the budget is $2.6 million, where we're getting ready to fund over 40% of that budget, and for Dr. Morgan to not be here, whatever his schedule is, sends an enormous thud throughout this building that where his priorities stand when it comes to athletics and the SEEP. I don't know Dr. Morgan, but I'm just saying that this should be a priority for him as well. And I appreciate everybody's attendance here today, but he's the CEO, right? This should be important to him as well. If it's important enough for the school district to ask, it should be important enough for your CEO to be here to at least answer questions. With that being said, I need to differentiate between athletics and SEEP, right? SEEP also includes the arts, correct? So we're here, you're here for an ask for athletics and art, correct? Does SEEP, Mr. Chairman, to
Ms. Powell,
your title?
Executive Director.
The executive director. Is there a budget for SEEP separate from
Yes.
athletics? Okay, Mr. Chairman, to the executive director, what is the budget for SEEP?
What I read, what's on that?
The total budget?
The $950,000.
Okay, so we're here funding the whole SEEP program. CMSD's budget does not put any money towards SEEP. Mr. Chairman, to the executive director. I know she's shaking her head. It looks like she's itching to get up here and just,
That's my fiscal person right there.
So what we're at, so we have athletics, right? You have, Mr. Chair, you're going to have to educate us here, to the table, Mr. Chairman, to the table. You have the athletics department, correct? And what I'm hearing is that's a $2.6 billion budget. Then we have a SEEP program, which is only funded through city council in the $950,000. So we're funding 100% of the SEEP program. Mr. Chairman, to whomever can answer the question, whether we need to bring our fiscal lady up or the executive director, am I correct?
So may I clarify a point? Please? Thank you.
That's why we're here.
Yes,
Can you talk to the microphone?
I'm sorry.
It's for the listening
two-
public.
Yes, I'm sorry. The $2.6 million is what CMSD gives to the athletic department.
Correct.
That is separate from the $950,000. So the $950,000 is not 40%. That is a totally separate budget.
All right. And then, Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Mosley, that's even worse on behalf of Dr. Morgan not being here, when we're funding 100% of one of the programs from CMSD. And we're not going to defend it. I'm just letting you know my opinion on it, that if we're taking taxpayer dollars, right, out of the general fund, and we're giving it to 100% of a program, usually 99% of the time, the CEO of that organization is going to be here. Hang on, I know you're itching. You've been sitting back, I've been watching you the whole time. Would be here. That's just my opinion, okay? For my tenure on council, I reluctantly have voted for this because giving the money to the kids is the right thing to do, okay? Now that we know that we fund 100% of this program, if this legislation does not pass, Mr. Chairman, to either our fiscal or executive director, Mr. Mosley, what happens to the SEEP program?
So
Okay, through the chair. Everything goes through the chair. Please, can you talk into the mic? And because we have folks watching on TB20.
Sure.
We can hear you, but the folks on TB20 probably will not be able to hear you, okay?
I apologize.
Thank you.
Yes, to the chair.
Closer.
Pull
Yeah,
it
you got to pull
closer
it
to you.
close.
I apologize. To the chair, the SEEP funding does support some of the athletic programs. However, it does not cover everything that the athletic programming that we have, if I answered your question appropriately.
Kind of, sort of, but I believe that if we don't give the $950,000, Mr. Chairman, to our CFO, or whoever,
Budget and.
budget and out, whatever the title is, the SEEP program goes away,
Yes,
correct? And then a portion of your, you get less money, you don't have as much money in your athletic program then. So of the $950, Mr. Chairman, to the executive director, maybe we know what percentage of that goes toward the arts, which I guess is, and then what portion goes toward athletics?
To the chair, to the council person, $200,000 goes to the arts.
And then, so we offset CMSD's athletic budget by $750,000.
yes.
All right, Mr. Chairman, to our executive director, CMSD is funded through taxpayers' dollars, right? I mean, that's the majority of your budget, correct? And do we know what the budget of CMSD is, Mr. Chairman, to the Executive Director? The total budget, does anybody know?
I would not know.
Chief?
Yeah.
All right,
Ms. Casey, repeat that question again.
so I'd like to know what the overall budget of CMSD is. All right, and then, Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Mosley, whatever that is, I'd like to know what that percentage is that goes toward athletics. Now that we've kind of got through the weeds of SEEP and athletics and all that other stuff, I'd like to see what percentage of the taxpayers' dollars goes toward athletics within CMSD. Because, Mr. Chairman, to the Executive Director, CMSD, and we all believe in public education, right? But when is enough enough? On the back of the taxpayers. You know, every homeowner, you know, who owns a home in the city of Cleveland, whether they like it or not, they support CMSD. And now you're coming to us again for another $950,000 in more taxpayer dollars. When is enough enough? I mean, I know that you have a bigger budget than the city of Cleveland's budget, okay? I'm not going to tell you what your budget is because it's not my job to tell you, it's your job to tell me, right? But you have a bigger budget than the whole city of Cleveland's budget. And if our percentages are off, then there's something that needs to be looked at seriously within CMSD. We're only giving $200,000. Mr. Chairman, to our arts guy, do you have other budget aside from the $200,000 for the arts that goes to?
To the chair, to the council person. Yes, the budget for the arts is approximately $3 million.
$3 million for
yes.
arts?
And coming out of the pandemic, we have made tremendous investments in our programs. The district has spent approximately $5.2 million since coming out of the pandemic in ensuring that our schools are outfitted with brand new musical instruments, ORF instruments, and necessary materials and consumable supplies for our educators and for our students.
Okay. And then my last topic, Mr. Chairman, is going to go to our director. I understand that this has always been kind of the way it's been since 1995, and we've given the tax dollars out of this program. But things change. We're taking $950,000 away from Public Works, right? Because if this wasn't going to SEEP, then it would go back into the budget of Public Works, correct?
Through the chair to the council person, I'm not exactly sure how that would work. That might be a question more for finance.
All right, and then, Mr. Chairman, to the director, though, this is coming out of the Public Works budget or general fund.
Through the chair to the council member, it's my understanding this is a tax funded approach, not coming from the general fund.
Through the chair, if I could, I might have an answer.
Go ahead.
From my understanding, this is started as part of parking tax relief. So I don't believe it's part of the general fund for Public Works, if I'm not mistaken, Director.
Again, that's my understanding.
All right, then, Mr. Chairman, to the director, why are you here then? It says authorizing the Director of Public Works and Finance. Not sure why the Finance Director's not here. To enter into one or more contracts. So is it, Mr. Chairman, to the director, is it you that's signing the contract with SEEP, or is it Finance Department?
This, through the chair to the council person, it's both. It's myself and the finance.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, we need to figure out if any of this $950,000 is coming out of the budget of Public Works, because Public Works does a lot, and I don't know if it does, and I don't know if you know if it does or not, but I don't think we have that answer right now. But where those dollars are coming through, they're still tax dollars, right? So, and when we hear Public Works, we hear our parks, we hear our recs, we hear our roads, we hear our trash department. So an extra $950,000 going to Public Works, if it's coming from Public Works, is a lot of money that's being taken as services to our residents of the city of Cleveland. So something's not being funded in order to fund this, so we just want to figure out where those dollars are coming from.
Through the chair to the council member, I can confirm that and get that information
Okay.
right back to you.
Mr. Chairman, again, I'm not happy passing this legislation, but we do it for the kids, because I don't believe, I think there's a lot bigger issues at CMSD that needs to be figured out as opposed to us continuously funding the SEEP program. Not that we don't mind helping out, but it gets tougher and tougher, especially if we know that there's going to be something coming up in November. And, our residents are already saying to us, we pay enough, right? And now I have to say, well, not only are you paying that, but hey, look, we just gave an extra $950,000 too, right? I mean, it's your perception. Perception is reality, and this is going to fall on you guys. Obviously, since 1995, this council has not had a problem helping kids out in the city, and even our gentlemen in the back are here again, and we're going to help them out as well. But you need to come up with better answers, right? And I think the finances of everything is a serious, serious issue within CMSD. And for us to continue this partnership, I think it's only fair to the residents of the city of Cleveland that we represent for us to get those answers. So with that being said, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much.
So through the chair to Councilman Casey, answer to your question regarding the annual budget for the district, along with what's appropriated for athletics, a bit over $1 billion, and then $4 million towards athletics.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you, Councilman Casey. Are you done with your questioning? Thank you, Councilman Casey. You also bring up some good points, and I just want everybody to know that's watching YouTube the severity of our lack of funding when it comes to our children. Next, I want to go to Councilman Anthony Harrison.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through the chair to Dr. Mosley. What was that answer? You said $4 million?
$4 million goes to athletics,
So not 2.6 million.
not 2.6 million, $4 million.
I see a difference of opinion here.
You see what we need?
To the table, to the director.
Yeah, I checked in with our chief financial officer to verify the numbers.
So $4 million, not $2.6 million, goes towards athletics, cross country, basketball, track, and everything else.
That's my understanding.
Okay. Can we, before finance, can we get an absolute, sure answer? To the chair, to Dr. Mosley and the finance team with the Department of Athletics, I would think that our budget and management office through athletics would absolutely know how much the Department of Athletics receives and was allocated. Is that include? I'm sorry to cut you off. To the director, to the chair, to the director, and the staff. Does that $4 million includes the staffing as well? Is that why it's $4 million? Or did you give to the chair, our friend from the budget office in athletics, 2.6 is actually for the program in itself?
The $2.6 million figure that I gave was non-personnel.
Non-personnel.
Right, so
Okay.
operating costs.
Gotcha. And so I would assume that the $4 million through the chair includes personnel and actual programmatic funding.
Correct.
Okay. If we can just get, before finance today, kind of a breakdown of what that looks like, that would be appreciated by this body. All right.
Will do.
Thank you. Just moving on. I would say even just the 2.6 million, I agree with my colleagues that the district has to do better. We expect these kids to stay out of trouble. We expect them to participate. That may be why we're losing young women through the chair. Because, when I go to these events and games as well, even back when I was in CMSD, was at this point, it has been quite a while now, but, I can just remember the equipment then, right? And it just seems like it has not changed over the last almost 20 years now since I was there, that things has really changed. I mean, I've seen some slight differences, right? I will say that. But, overall, I think you know, there still needs some changes has to be made within the athletics department in terms of funding to the department. I know we have another chief from the district as well, but we with a over $1 billion budget that CMSD has, it should never be a $2.6 million programmatic budget for athletics. Like, I don't know how you do your job through the chair. Like, I mean, I think you all are pulling rabbits out of your hats.
Very frugal.
Absolutely, right? And then we wonder why certain schools don't have, or certain schools do have, and why folks at other schools complain about certain schools having all the programming, right? You know, so I would really, really encourage the district, if the district would like for our support to continue. And I know there's conversations that's had with the administration, but this body is the body who says yes to the dollars. They can tell you, yeah, we'll support you, but it's this body who has to say to make it happen, right? So it's important that you work with this body, communicate with this body on your plan, right? A plan of how you intend to address the very low-level funding that athletics, you know, is receiving. Athletics is important. As you heard from Councilman Starr, it saved his life. You hear Councilman Palenzi, who's been here, I want to say, since 76, who says how athletics saved his life. So just think about it. You have a council person who started here in the 70s, a council person who's here in the late 2000s, right, mid-2000s, are saying the same thing. So we know that that is real. That athletics save these kids. I can give you stories of young men and women that I know personally, where if they did not have extracurricular activities or athletics, their life would be much different. There's many now through the chair who take care of their families because they were able to participate in athletics. Me, you and I, we know many of them. Many of us do. And so it's important that we invest more, the CMSD invest more into that program. And I'll leave it there in terms of the funding. You all know what needs to happen. And I no doubt that this group knows, right? And I don't think it's just left up to this group here, right? It's beyond this group. And that, you know, I hope you all take back this message to others a part of your group to know that, listen, this has to change, right? We need to get this right. All right, moving on through the chair. So I'm clear, the SEEP program is fully funded by Cleveland City Council and the administration. City Hall fully funds the SEEP program. There's no other funding revenues or sources for the SEEP program. Through the chair.
No.
No. No other grants, no other donations, no other anything. So it's fully funded by the City of Cleveland.
Correct.
Thank you. Just a few questions about the SEEP program. So I'm curious, it says, the ordinance says 2023-2024 school year. We're already, so I guess you do by school years, 23-24 through the chair, not annual 24.
It's always a year behind because we have that formal evaluation. So we won't get the formal evaluation for 23-24 until after June 30th of this year. So all of our other reporting is always a year behind because of the school year.
Okay, reporting is behind because of the school year, because due to the formal evaluation. All right. So the funds will be retroactive. So if you've spent out of your budget funds in 2023 and the first quarter and a half of 2024, the city will then reimburse you for dollars you've spent related to these programs through the chair.
Correct.
Oh,
Yes,
yes,
correct.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
To the
correct.
chair, yes.
Okay. All right. So we're going back and paying you funds that you've already spent. Okay. Equipment through the chair to the team here. Does these funds allow you to buy equipment? Because these extracurricular activities, some of them require equipment, chessboards, games, pieces, volleyballs, nets, other things that the athletic teams may need.
When a school starts a particular program for the first time, say they're going to do basketball for the first time, the SEEP money will cover the startup costs for all equipment and/or uniforms.
Okay.
And then after that year, the school then takes on the maintenance and sustaining of that program.
The school themselves out of their school
Their school budget, yes.
Okay, got it. The executive summary talks about a private consultant. Is that private consultant paid from these dollars that we provide?
The $18,000.
So we take 18, through the chair, we take $18,000 of the $950,000 and pay for a consultant. And please, through the chair, can you tell this body, what does this consultant provide? Is this that review that you just spoke about?
The report, there's a fiscal and a program report at the end of every year, and we provide that to council, and we'll be giving you that as soon as it's available to us in July. We believe it'll be done in July. And that will have a breakdown of 23, 24 of all the teams, all of the expenditures, which is what I gave you, but you'll see more in detail what schools did what and received what.
Okay, got it. So, so I'm clear through the chair to the director in your team. We spent $18,000 out of the $950,000 for consultant to basically take the information that the district provides, the numbers, who provided, who participated in what, and compile that into a report. Got it. So a follow-up to that, is that not something that the district can do themselves? I know the district has a very competent, capable team who can, you know, that $18,000 can be better spent somewhere else instead of paying a consultant to do what I know the district can do. Has that been a discussion? I don't mean to cut you off. Through the chair.
No, I believe over the years they've done it so that they would have a non-biased evaluation, but that can always be done through the district should we want to go that route. But I believe it initially happened because they wanted a non-bias.
A non-bias, okay. I can see that. You know, that leads me to another point that I would hope the district wouldn't lie on the numbers, right? You know, I mean, I hear the non-bias piece, right? You know, I think of non-bias when I think about the scorecard that's being prepared for how we provide incentives for developers, right? To me, that's a little bit different. But we're talking about just numbers and who participated and what schools did what. I will hope that the district can be truthful about at least the numbers of kids that they serve, right? And how they serve them and what capacity they serve them. So through the chair, we probably should consider whether, I don't know whether that we can do that or have discussions with the district about, you know, the district provide that and not using that money to pay a consultant to put together that report. I just see $18,000 more that can go to our young people, right, in different ways. So just my thoughts. And last two questions, Mr. Chair. Meals, are we providing meals to the kids out of these dollars here or no? Through the chair.
No, we do not provide meals.
Okay. And some of these are like late activities and programs, you know, depending on the coach, that some may not leave at 7, 8 o'clock at night, right? And some of them may have missed dinner time already. And some of them may be in a household where you miss it, that's it. What are we doing to support the young people if they are staying late or a trip or something takes much longer than anticipated? Are we providing them any meals, any kind of anything?
Coaches work through their principals and their athletic directors to ensure that they can have the funds in their budget if they were going to provide any of the children a snack or a meal. And then we've always told them to contact our food service department, so that would help them as well as whatever could be deemed from there to be used as a snack. So they make that decision in the school.
Gotcha. So you
To the chair, to the council person, the Fine Arts Department supports meals for the after-school activities that happen well beyond time. For example, the All-City Musical at every single dress rehearsal, which we knew went until 9 and 10 o'clock, we fed students dinner. And occasions where we have them all day, we'll feed breakfast as well. That's built into my budget.
Okay, got it. Thank you. And lastly, last 2 points. Transportation. I see that it says the dollars will be used for transportation. So that's for buses, I'm sure, to pay for a bus, and that's also admission to whatever museum or activity that you're taking the students on?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. And in my closing remarks, Mr. Chairman, fully support our kids, fully support our athletic program, supportive of this piece here today. I don't have to repeat it. You heard from this body about what, you know, we would like to see happen as it relates to athletics within the CMSD school district. Athletics has saved the lives of so many young people and will continue to do so. And so unless CMSD, you know, steps up their allocation as it relates to athletics, we're going to continue to see more and more kids not participate, right, because of rundown equipment, not having, tired of being embarrassed when they go and play with other students and other teams and other places, right? Sometimes we pull up and we just look bad, right? And we've had a discussion about that previously. And I know that you are doing all that you can in your power that you do have, but again, it's beyond you. I see other chiefs in here who's a part of that decision making that we need to do better. And lastly, Mr. Chair, just for our City Hall team, when members of council has tried to pay for trips for transportation, or transportation for trips, or have tried to retroactive or even buy equipment, that members of this body have been told no. And I guess to my law department and to staff, how are we allowed to pay for transportation, make retroactive payments, buy equipment for this program, but when we bring other programming to staff's attention or the law department, that we are consistently told no? Do we have an answer for that, Mr. Law Director? Why are we able to use general fund dollars here to pay for transportation, retroactive payments, and equipment, but when casino funds or other funds are used that are general fund dollars that supposedly has no restrictions, that we are met with a no? You probably want to grab that one now. I'm curious of that, and I hope our council staff is watching this as well, and other members of the law department.
All right. Through the chair to the councilman, I'm not privy to the file or the details of this particular contract. What I will say is an analysis is done to find a correlation with the public purpose in general, but I can't speak to this legislation and this situation or what else you've been advised. What I can do is go back to provide a fact-specific analysis if that is what is required. But I can't speak to this legislation, but I do know the law department conducts an analysis to check for correlation with the general public purpose, and that's probably what you've received.
Absolutely, and I will say I won't hold this up any longer, but we would like for you to go back and do some research and come back before finance to tell us kind of why it's okay here, but it's not okay when we bring other projects forward to be funded for other schools. Matter of fact, I tried to support Kenneth Clement on there. Where did it go? Something they were doing. We were told no, we couldn't pay for the bus or transportation. But in this piece, I'm able to give you money to provide transportation for the young people to go somewhere. That's a problem, right? So we need to figure this out. Why it's okay here, but it's not okay when we want to support schools, not my grandmother and her casino trip, right? But schools who are looking to do extracurricular activities for young people. Let me ask you this, are all of these programs after school through the chair? Or some of these during school time, in school time as well?
Some are during the school time. For the K-5, when they do the educational field trips,
yes,
they will do that during the school day.
In school day, okay, got it. No further, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Law Director.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Harrison. You are definitely right on point. You brought up some good points where we can do one thing somewhere else and we can't do something somewhere else. It really doesn't make sense. But so I thank you for bringing that to the point, and our staff and our team. I would like for them to look into that and give us some answers on that particular case. I am going to go back to Councilman Brian Casey, and then I'm going to come back to Councilman Richard Stark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, just to the director, this is just because this is really sticking in my craw about the Public Works whole issue. Back when we passed this, I would understand we had to find the money somewhere, but now we have an Office of Prevention, Intervention, and Youth Opportunity. So between now and next year, if we could just look at where the source of this funding is going to come from, maybe even aesthetically, we don't want it to say it's coming from Public Works because that's taking away from programming, away from our residents, but maybe look at the PIYO office to see if this is something that should come out of their budget or somehow work through that office.
Through the chair to the council member, I agree, and I will work on that
right.
for the future, because it is a bit of a different approach
Okay.
that I would prefer.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman Casey. It's always him and not me. No, just overall, if this passed out of committee today and go to finance, is there a way through the chair to the table for us to have a breakdown on the budget for each sports season? Meaning what's the fall sports, how the money is spent, and what it cover with possible line items, so it can be easily understood what it goes into it. Because like I said, I grew up in an era when football is the powerhouse and bring in the bread. And I just want to make sure we have that brought up and that it's shown. And also, you know, when we say how much, you know, you get what you pay for. And if we put in a little bit of money towards athletics and after school program, we can't be complaining about what is going on in our neighborhoods. We can't be complaining about what's going on in our school. But then a question I would definitely, I know I brought up a couple years ago, through the chair to director, what is the relationship with Muni League football that CMSD has with the district? The reason why I asked that, I think it's about like 5,000 kids in Northeast Ohio participate in Muni League football, and Muni League football starts in April with flag football, and it travels until late November. So a bulk of our season goes into there. And I know that we on council spends a lot of money into that program. So I'm trying to think, like, what is the relationship with that? And also, have there been some type of communication to see how they can possibly come in and do more and support with like a partnership of doing some things? Because I know sometimes it's pulling teeth and through the nails to get people to want to do certain things. Maybe there's some cross partnership. Have y'all had any discussion or met with Muni League and to explore different options as you're going through the strategic plan? Through the chair.
Yes. Between the city, Muni, and CMSD, we have a collaboration. They are the bulk of youth football in the city because our district does not offer football. So all of the students from CMSD have that option to play football through them and then get to the high school level. We do permits for them for any fields that are under our control, and then they get the permits from the city for their fields. They've started flag football, and we both, Muni and I, are on the leadership council for the Browns, and we're trying to get flag football established within our school district through physical education and then through schools that want to actually participate, especially for girls. So we're working with them on that flag football piece even more now.
Yep, and thank you, and I think that's really great. So I know you doing that, and I know Joe Record and Jason Dunn and them, they do a wonderful job. And I know it's a tri-committee. Obviously, I think they're coming up today, so I'm definitely going to say some of that question, but I definitely am glad to hear that y'all are working together. But also, through that partnership, it takes money. Just the reality. We can meet, the field usage and those permits are really great because we do have some beautiful fields with the field turf and those upgrades, and for our kids to play on that is great, but also understanding that it takes some money with all these teams. And I am one of those big stipulers that I don't like to see kids out with the helmets asking for money or things like that. To me, that's a form of begging. I don't see that in any other city or anything like that. So it's much rather us be more intentional with our strategic plan, understanding how do we figure things out. A major shout out to the Guardians who fund all baseball in Northeast Ohio. Major shout out to the Cavs. When you pick up the phone and call them, they're always open to open up their checkbooks. Shout out to Eric Barley, that's my guy. I mean, Nick. He does a great job as well over there with the Cavs. But then it's like, what do we get with our Browns? As far as commitment to our program. If we got football in Northeast Ohio, it should be covered all under them. It should not be any question. And those type of things that I believe we all should be doing and be at the table working on those different strategies can help us get from a plan that we implemented in '95 to bring it more modern to today's agenda. So that's all I have, Chair.
All right, thank you, Councilman Starr. You want to make a?
I was just going to say, between recreation with Marianne Fields, Muni football with Jason and myself being on the council for the leadership of youth football with the Browns, we're working together to hopefully get a bigger outcome.
Yep, and I'm with you. Tell them I'm ready to tell the Browns, get that money up, stop playing. I believe Muni League itself needs about $350,000 to really operate. And I know this body increased the funding from $80,000 for the last 2 years to $160,000, which is some big improvement. But we still, that's just a drop in the bucket. Like I know we have a $2 billion budget with about $700 million plus in the general fund, and we do our best to try to give that. But I believe anything Muni League needs for our children should be covered and paid for without any question. And any way we need to strategize, do that, I'm in all support of that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilman Starr. Councilwoman Gray, you have a comment? Madam Secretary, can you call in Councilwoman Gray as pro temp? All right, thank you. All right. Can you call the roll on ordinance number 442, 2024, Madam Secretary? Yes.
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 All right, thank you, Madam Secretary. It is evident here this morning that this body is passionate about youth sports and youth extracurricular activity, and it's also evident that we are passionate about everybody needs to be involved and everybody needs to play their role. It is eye-opening to me that we have such a large commitment in the athletic program, but the CMSD does not commit more resources to the program. So going forward, we're going to monitor this, and we would like to see CMSD put a bigger contribution to our athletic programs in their particular schools for our kids and our communities. Okay, without further, ordinance number 442 stands approved. Please sign it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next I'm going to have up our guest from Case Western Reserve.
Good morning.
Okay, ordinance number 308, 2024, by council members Bishop and Griffin. This is a departmental request. An emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Works to enter into one or more contracts with Case Western Reserve University to provide a youth summer sports, nutrition, health, and life skill development program for 2024 under the National Youth Sports Program supported by Case Western Reserve. Okay, Director.
Thank you, Chair. The NYSP is an instructional program that uses sports participation and competition as a vehicle to promote active, healthy lifestyles, enhance self-esteem, promote respect for one another and others, and reinforce the importance of education to one's future. Combines nutrition and health services with sports activities, life skill development, and education. A few things that I wanted to make note of is that we do provide, this program does provide a daily lunch. Every child enrolled will receive a medical examination, and there's a multiplicity of field trips that are part of this program. I have Commissioner Gisson-Tanner here with our guests as well for any background or any questions that you may have.
Chairman and the committee, this is our annual request for to support the National Youth Sports Program in the amount of $150,000. With me is Coach Dennis Harris. He is the director of NYSP program at Case Western Reserve to answer any questions.
Okay, Coach, would you like to make a comment?
Well, first of all, to the chair, to the councilman, I'm just so proud of being here with you guys. You guys are a great body, have been supporting our program when everybody else quit. We are the only program left in the country that had to provide this program. I get calls from all over the country. What are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? How do you guys do it? I said the city of Cleveland has stepped up. When the federal government cut the money, the city of Cleveland stepped up. And each and every year I get more and more and more proud. I'm a Clevelander, former teacher, of what the city of Cleveland is doing. We are very, very fortunate. Not only just a summer program, we are partnered with City Rec. We partnership with this young man, Mr. Gisatainer. We opened up when the university was closed. Mr. Gisatainer and Jim Jones said, we got some kids off. We're going to do a program December 29th. We opened up the university for our kids. That's what we do. We will always fight for kids. All my career, all my life, we're going to fight for kids. That's what we do here at Case Western Reserve.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Coach Harris. And we really appreciate the camp. I know I personally have gotten a lot of feedback, some positive feedback with the children who attend your camp, also the parents. And so I fully support this. Now I'm going to open this up to my colleagues. Any questions, Councilman Brian Casey?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Harris, or Dr. Harris?
No, just
Mr.
Coach
Harris.
Harris.
Coach Harris. How many kids are enrolled in the program?
We always enroll like 325 just in the summertime, but we do other year-round activities.
All right, and then of those 325, Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Harris, are they all Clevelanders?
Of the 325, they aren't all Clevelanders because we open because we get federal funding from USDA, so we have to open up to. But 85% of our kids are Clevelanders.
All right.
Plus, you add the kids we get from the Cleveland Rec. You add those in. We open up on Saturdays when we open up. So majority of our kids are Clevelanders.
Okay. And then, Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Harris, of those Clevelanders, can we get a breakdown of where they reside? Just by ward, just the total number by ward?
Through the chair to the councilman, yes, we can get that.
We can have that. Just
Yes.
we want to make sure we're servicing.
And Mr. Casey, I love to get kids from all wards, and that's one thing, one invitation I'd like to invite to all you guys. Please send us your kids. I've taught on the east side, I've taught on the west side. We want kids from all wards of Greater Cleveland.
Right, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Harris, that's why I asked that
Yes,
question.
thank
So
you. Great question.
if we're lacking in one part of the
Great
city,
question.
how do we promote this program to get kids from
Great question.
where we're not servicing to the program? And then, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Harris, one last thing. We know that this program is at Case Western, correct?
Correct.
And there is some civil unrest at Case Western
Yes.
Reserve University right now. Is, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Harris, it's not impacting, or is it impacting, or is it a hindrance, or are we using what's going on at Case Western as an educational tool for our kids if they're seeing something that would be out of the norm of their everyday life?
First of all, I've been at Case Western Reserve something like 42 years. I walk past the protests every day to my office. It's a safe environment, and we will make sure it's a safe environment this summer for our kids. We have a great partnership with Case Western Reserve Police Department. Actually, during the summertime, they loan 2 community officers with us. The kids will be safe, and we will use this campus situation as a teaching moment.
Okay.
That's so important because I've been out to a council. I've been watching with my brothers from Palestine and Gaza, what they've been protesting. I get that. I have my Jewish friends. I get that. We want to use this as a teaching moment for our children. That is so important to us.
All right, I just want to make sure that they're,
Oh, we're going to have a program.
Okay, all right.
We're going to have a program. I'm telling you that right now.
All right, okay.
If COVID didn't stop us, we're going to have a program.
All
I'm
right,
telling
all
you
right.
that now.
That's what we wanted to hear. Thank you.
Through the chair to the councilman, if it had to move from Case Western Reserve, we'd do it at the recreation center.
And I'll be at the rec with you. But we ain't moving. We staying there.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilman Casey. Councilwoman Gray.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Good morning. No, don't say it's me. Don't you say see, you got it started. But good morning, Chair. Thank you, everyone. Coach Harris, I just want to say that last year, when I came to your camp last year to visit, it was phenomenal what I've seen, and I was really, really impressed and overwhelmed. I could barely had words when they asked me to speak, because that was my first time ever coming there, first time knowing that this has been an assistant. How many years?
This song make 54 years.
54 years.
You're proud of that moment.
And I am proud because you stayed for the talent show.
Yes.
And I heard you can sing, so we will have a little spot. You and Mr. Casey, y'all can do a pictures in her. Yeah, I heard you can sing, Mr. Casey. So Sunny didn't share, y'all. But no, seriously.
No.
I love to give you guys, and we invite all of our councilmen. Please come out and see our program. Come eat with us. Come walk with the kids. Come talk with the kids. That is so important.
That is so important.
Pardon?
It was just. Don't go. No, thank you. But I just want to say that I know this is a fantastic program, and I just want you to let everyone know how the parent can apply for this program, so other kids who wasn't aware of it and has never been could know how to get the application.
Well, I'm asking this. I think most of you guys have this. This is how you can sign up. Please, a lot of you guys have your ward newsletters. Please send this out. Get this out to the south side of Cleveland, the north side, the east side, the west side. Sign up. Sign up. It tells you how to sign up. All you have to hit the little scan. We need our kids. Our kids. So please, if you need me and my assistants back there, you need me to come to your ward meeting to talk, I'll be there. I'll be there talking to your ward. You need me there, I'll be there.
Okay, thank you. I'm definitely going to put this on my website and Facebook. And one more last question: how many children can be part of this summer camp?
This summer, our budget's only for 325. Back before COVID, we used to have registered over 500 kids. But due to budget, that's what killed us. So we're down to 325, but those 325, they're going to have a great time. And that's why, like I said, we do things with Mr. Gisentainer year-round, partnering with the rec. And I'm so proud of them. Like I said, I get that call, they said the university's closed. I said, not for NYSP and not for Sam. We opened it up on December the 29th.
Okay.
That's what we do. And we will continue doing that because we have a great president at Case who believes in the community. A great president. So I'm really proud of what we're doing here at Case Western Reserve for our kids and our community.
And also I want to close and say, and to say that I'm proud, I had a good time, and I do support this camp for the summer at Case Western Reserve. So, thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman Gray. I just want to comment that I had those great hamburgers and those hot dogs at the picnic here, so I'm coming back again. Next, I'm going to go to Councilman Casey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just saw your flyer here, and you have 300, Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Harris. Our Cleveland residents' kids are paying $85 for a month-long camp. I'm sure it's a great camp. I've never been out there, but I'm going this year on the invite. But if 325 kids, and we know they're not all Clevelanders, right? We're giving you $150,000 for an additional 20 or 25,000. Our kids could attend for free, correct?
If you gave us extra money?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I would. Yes, if we could. I have to get with my, we have to get the count.
All right, that, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Harris, that's a conversation we'll have here, and we'll discuss it before finance. But if we throw an additional 20,000, would that make $85 for a month for a lot of our residents is
I can
a
help
lot
you
of
with that,
money.
Mr. Casey, too. One thing that we do, I definitely understand that because one thing that we have written a grant, we haven't received it. For a lot of our kids who can't afford it, we come out of our pocket and they come for free. I personally came out of my pocket, and we were waiting on a grant for like hardship. I know right now, we already for 20 students or parents can't afford, we'll pay for them.
And Mr. Chairman and Mr. Harris, I understand that, but even your flyer, how many kids are getting scared off because parents can't afford $85 for a month-long
Right,
camp?
I definitely understand your
I'm just saying.
Well, what I have to do, sir, I have to get back and make sure everything breaks down, because we already have registration. Some parents already have paid.
I get it.
And that's it. We have to talk about that.
If nothing else, Mr. Chairman, to Commissioner and Mr. Harris and the Director, maybe that's something we can look into for next year.
Great.
Right? I mean,
Great, Mr. Casey.
if it's that great of a camp, and it's, I don't want to just say only 20 or 25,000 additional dollars, because these are
Right.
still taxpayers' dollars that we're talking about,
Without a
right?
doubt, I
But if
understand.
we can still send 320-some odd Cleveland kids to a camp for a month, and they're going to utilize it, and then to me, that's money well spent, right? But
Thank you,
maybe not for this year, since you've already started registration and
to.
you're doing that. But maybe, Director, or Chairman, to the Director, that's something we should keep in the back of our minds for next year, so that if this camp is that great, I mean, we're doing that for other organizations, right? Kids are getting to play for free because we're helping supplement it. And I don't know what your 150,000 goes toward. I know it goes toward a great camp, but if it's just an additional 20 or 25,000, and then 300 kids, Clevelanders can attend this camp who wouldn't maybe have been able to, or we open it up a little more, then maybe it's just something we should explore for next year. Thank you.
Understood.
All right, thank you, Councilman Casey. All right, is there any other questions? All right, seeing no further questions, ordinance number 308, 2024 is approved. Please sign. All right, can we have our guests from the representing Muni football, ordinance number 309? Ordinance number 309, 2024, by council members Bishop and Griffin. This is also a departmental request. An emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Works to enter a contract with Northeast Ohio Muni Football League, AKA Cleveland Municipal Football Association, doing business as Cleveland Muni Football League, to conduct a citywide youth football program. Okay, Director.
Thank you, Chair. This is to conduct a citywide youth football program to provide youth an opportunity to play football and cheerlead in a supervised, organized, and safe environment, and to promote the ideals of sportsmanship, scholastics, and physical fitness, also to aid and assist in combating juvenile delinquency by promoting the physical and emotional well-being of our young athletes. The contract amount is $160,000, and we have over 3,000 kids participating in this program. We have the great Joe Record here at the table with us, as well as Commissioner Gibson-Tanner, to answer any questions that you may have, sir.
Okay. All right, Commissioner, you got any comments?
Chairman and the committee, yes, Joe Record and also Mr. John Good is here to answer any questions. Excellent program. I believe most of us at this table have participated in Muni football. As Councilman Starr said, he started Muni football years and years ago. So, yeah, he started years ago. So it's a great program that we fully support. So again, here to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Commissioner. I know I played for several teams over the course of my lifetime on Muni football. Also, my son actually played Muni football also, so I know it's how great it impacts youth in our community, and I am truly pleased with this piece of legislation that's helping out the Muni football. I am going to open it up for questions. I know Councilman Starr has to make. Councilman Starr.
Yes, hey, thank you, committee, council members. I know during budget hearings, we was having discussion about Muni League, and I see the number 160, but from my dealing and conversation with Muni League, I believe there's more money that is needed. This 160,000 is just scratching the surface of the need. So my question through the chair to Mr. Record, so what is the actual total cost that is needed for you to operate, or what is the actual budget amount for you to run your league that you pay overall for the budget?
Chair to Councilman, we're spending close to $400,000 a year for operations, and that's about half of what's needed. If you look at the organizations out there playing football now, you see the kids and coaches out on the corner.
Okay, can you talk into the mic?
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
You have coaches and the kids and parents out on the corners raising money for equipment. A football helmet costs $175 each, and they have to be reconditioned every 2 years. And the lifespan of that helmet is 10 years. If a kid sustains a head injury, the first thing insurance that you want to see is that helmet to make sure that that helmet has been certified. And that's just part of it. Last year, when you raised our budget up to $160, first thing we did was cut half of the cost of the organizations to play Muni football. This year, we cut the whole fee out. Okay, because John Good and I have been going out raising money, but we still need more funding. We need to secure the fields, bring in more staff. I can't use volunteers on game day to keep the crowds organized. And if you come out to the games, you'll see anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 people at each location. And on Saturdays, we have anywhere from 5 to 7 locations going on at the same time. And so on Saturday and Sunday, we have around 60 to 70 people employed to help us, and they don't get paid a lot. They just basically putting in time to help us with the program. If I may, Chair, let John Good come in to say something. John is the Vice President of Muni Football, so as I go out, John will be the next man up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
If I'm saying this properly, from the through the.
And make sure you're talking to the mic. We got folks watching on YouTube.
Okay. Let me get this right. Through the council president, to the rest of the council, to the chair.
Chairman, yeah.
To the chair, to the council. Thank you for having us this morning. Thank you for all the support that you guys have given us in the past. And appreciate lending the ear to us today to possibly get an increase in funding. But like Joe said, we have over 3,000 kids, 500 volunteers. Our training for coaches to lead these kids into the next phase of their life is very important, and that's what I can concentrate on, the quality of people that's around our kids, who they are, where they come from. They have to have background checks, and we have a checklist of training programs that they must complete in order to be compliant with coaching in our league, okay? There's USA football certifications that teaches them how to run practices, how to practice safely. We got concussion protocols that they have to be certified by the state of Ohio. And then we have our own particular training that we'll have this weekend. We're holding a session to train coaches on the rules of Cleveland Muni football. What this does is this gives us the authority to suspend, release, kick out any coaches that we feel is not falling in line, to be a good example for our kids. Our coaches are very important to our program and to our kids in our community because, especially after this COVID situation, there's been a lot of revealing things with the kids that they've fallen short on with reading comprehension, understanding things, critical thinking skills, how to de-escalate situations amongst their peers. And so we are addressing that in the future, which is why the funding is so severely needed. We will be holding tutoring sessions in the future. We will be holding reading and comprehension sessions in the future. We'll be bringing on tutors. We've also expanded our offices, operations to be able to handle that responsibility to provide those programs after school. So now we have the room to bring in extra staff to do those things. We also like to work hand in hand with Sam Disentanner and the recreation department on offering more sports for kids after the football season through track, through basketball, and anything else that they're really interested in doing. We even talked about a little bit about lacrosse, and we're also looking at working with the Caramoo House to start a muni choir for those kids who don't want to play additional sports throughout the season. Anything to keep them in the positive atmospheres and keep them around positive people doing positive things. I heard earlier when the CMSD was up here at the table about the flag football. Flag football has really gotten popular for us. It's grown, it's doubled, and it's almost tripled. We're up to 115 teams that's playing currently right now at 2 fields on Saturdays and Sundays, John Adams Field and Rhodes High School. So if you guys aren't doing anything, we do invite you out to come out and take a look at our community at play, relaxing and having a good time. We have teams that use it as fundraisers to sell goods, food, and paraphernalia sometimes to support their teams. So they do a good job of that, and hopefully the city is, CMSD is pleased with the way they're cleaning up afterwards, because we do hear about it. We also took steps during this off season to build a better relationship with the city of Cleveland and the law enforcement area. We are on safety council with the city of Cleveland so that our games and our practices are safe. You guys, I'm pretty sure you've heard about the incidents that's happened in the neighborhoods during our games, but we have done a good job of making sure we have enough security to keep everybody safe that's in the stadium. Outside the stadium, we don't really have much control over. That's why the city of Cleveland stepped up, the police department stepped up, and they just want to know, where are you playing? You know, how many teams are playing, what time you're playing, so they can cover that as they can, because we all know how stressed out they are. So we're looking forward to a bright 2024. We're moving forward and addressing the kids' and the parents' needs for the future. We also have launched a program for all of our alumni of Muni football that's in high school. We're working with the Cleveland Builds program to offer internships and apprenticeships for the trades once they reach their sophomore, junior year. Those young men and young women who recognize that they want that opportunity, they will have the opportunity to enroll into the program to get an introduction to see if they really want to do it. And then after that, they actually start working in the summer right before their senior year, doing cleanups, getting an orientation to what the trades and the commitment to that career path is all about. And then after that, after they come out of high school, they go to a work site. They start reporting for classes to get the academia that they need in order to perform in these duties. And as we all know, that's a real nice pathway to middle class America. And you have a skill that you can use forever. So we're excited about that relationship. And we appreciate the support that you guys have given us. Any other questions?
Thank you. Thank you. That's a great overview. Just to my colleagues, so definitely I would ask to the chair, is there a way that we can have a special meeting with the Sports Council, Recreation Public Works, Muni League, CMSD, as well as the Browns, to be able to come to the table to get more of a clarification of what this partnership looks like? Just from the overview that we just received through the chair from Mr. Good and Mr. Record, we was able to find out that our kids are able to identify where our kids are at 3,000 kids between April and November every year. We also figured out that they're expanding on programming to be able to do additional sports that they're going to be able to utilize inside of our recreation. They also talked about the band program in which they're going to launch with Caramoo House. And we just seen our great Glenville football team go to the States, and we had to go find somebody to be on a band to celebrate them. So what they're doing is taking our kids as early as 5 years old up to 14-year-olds to be able to say we're going to open them and expose them to different type of sports, different type of extracurricular activities, and they're doing all this with $160,000 right now currently. We just heard from them that the overall budget for Muni League itself is around $400,000. So we're doing about 38% of their funding, which is some good need, but there's also more room to grow to get them to that $400,000. And I think if we're going to really be intentional and strategic about prevention and strategies, we have to take care of something where our kids are crying out for help. But then also expanding on the relationships that Mr. Joey Ricura has, as far as obviously he grew up in Cleveland, went to Benedictine High School. I've done a wonderful job with the program, even when I came up playing underneath his leadership as well. That exposure to career, and we know we just put money for what Cleveland builds and connecting them as early. I remember when I was between age 6 and 14. Matter of fact, I remember now at 35 years old, if my coaches ask me to do something now, I'm still listening and doing it because of what they instilled in me around that time frame. So if we're going to talk about prevention strategy, if we're going to talk about making sure our neighborhoods is more safe and our kids have opportunity, if we're going to talk about baby boomers are retiring and we got this trade initiative field gap that nobody is going into this, we got to turn to those who can meet our kids where they are at, but we got to also be realistic about what are we going to actually lobby and put money up to. So I am open to us. I will definitely want to request to staff and possibly put a reminder to you, Chairman, so I can work with you to get everyone to the table. Let's have that discussion. CMSD was here and they said they were doing some different things, and we look at them and see that they're not really spending as much money that is needed for a sports program. How do we get a nonprofit organization to come in and do some of these things that can help move us forward? It's not about whether it's your kid or our kids. Overall, this is everyone's kids. Right. They are our babies. They are our residents, and this should be a more robust conversation. And I know we're going through some changes through Public Works and recreation departments, doing some different things. I did talk to Chief Bonnie last week, and she showed us some great things, and I'm honored to see that we're being more intentional with our focus. So I'm definitely open for this, and I do support this ordinance 309-2024, but I also support it with the expectation that we're going to do more. I love that our summer camp that we have, we're looking to do more money. I mean, we got to take care of our kids. We have to put up the funding. I mean, like I said, I see this council and I see the city be intentional on giving other organizations so much money, and they're not even touching or scraping the surface of the need or the support that our kids need in our neighborhood. So I do support this council, Chairman, and I definitely would like for us to possibly have that conversation, schedule some type of meeting. So I definitely look forward to working with you and this body to possibly get something scheduled, and also find out, like, hey, insurance. So my question is, once this passed to the chair, I know insurance is really, really big. So once this is passed to the chair, possibly this question is to the law department, because obviously Commissioner Gissner is here, so his department approves of this contract. How long does the money get out for Muni League to be able to operate? Is it a reasonable time frame? Because we're going into this May, and I know June and July is when they pick up tackle football, and then by the end of August, our kids are actually operating. But June 1st, I believe, is when kids are first starting the practices. So we need that insurance out there. So I know we got to pay that money through that $40,000. So to the chair, I believe Commissioner Gissner or probably Director Williams, or the law department, how long would it take before the money of this $160,000 is able to get to Muni League so they can be able to expense these things earlier as possible? Through the chair.
Through the chair to the councilman, once it's passed legislation, it will go to law to develop the contract. We're hoping to expedite that and get that in their hands right away. We understand the importance of getting that insurance for those kids to be out there playing, so we understand that.
Thank you. And last but not least, I know Director DeRosa is in the back. You know I need that Muni League. We need Dwayne Broder Field. Just to everyone, we've been working on figuring out the cost, so we do have a price what it would cost to add a fence to Dwayne Broder Field. So from our intentional conversation me and MoCap had, we were talking about getting the field up, and then we work on getting all the maintenance and upgrades to the field, because if we do some of those maintenance right now, the steel, and somebody is coming and taking that steel is like we're putting money in without having the security. So we're looking to secure that field. So, but we also have some things that we're working on with making sure we get the field into the right ownership. Because I know it's a CMSD right now. It should be under the city, and we need to do some swapping things. So I know MoCap is working on some different things. So I know Commissioner Gissel-Tanner and Public Works will be doing some stuff. But I'm looking forward to getting that field up and running. I think it's really great, and I do once again say I support this program, and I look forward to working together. Thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you, Councilman Starr. You got my commitment to bring the folks to the table, have a further discussion and how we can help the folks that's really actually doing the work do more work and be more effective at what they do. All right, is there any other questions? Councilman Brian Casey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, to our presenters, every year I ask the same thing. No weight limit, correct?
No weight limit.
We got rid of the weight limit, right?
You can still play.
Right, yeah, right, okay. Just
You
make
might not make it on the age.
just make it sure. And then, Mr. Chairman, to our presenters, the second thing is number of complaints about parking, right? Illegal parking, especially when they're practicing at our city parks, parking within the parks, right? I know I have, every year it's a problem with us up at Mohican, right? About people not just wanting to walk down from the parking lot, but they drive down, they drive through the, so if we could just address that through the league this year.
Sure.
I don't know how they didn't learn last year with the number of tickets that were written, but we don't want to continue to go that route. If we could just get your assistance with making sure that parents are parking legally when kids are practicing, especially when they're using our city-owned parks, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
One of the expenses that we have in the budget this year, we have it every year, but it depends on how we can work things out, is that we have compliance officers that actually go visit the sites. And I'll make sure that that's on their punch list to make sure that people are parking in the proper spots to preserve the parks for others to use and enjoy. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Anthony Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through the chair to the team, fully support this. You know, I know many young people who participated in Muni League and who are better folks to this day because of that. Absolutely. You know, I did a little bit, but I didn't. You know, I ventured off and started, fighting and doing other things. The fighting the correct way. Let me say that. But yes, absolutely. I support Councilman Starr. He has been an internal advocate since he got here about raising your budget, and happy to provide some discretionary dollars to support as we've done in the past. So, Councilman Starr, are you going to get that PIF together?
Yes, I am.
All right, sounds good. So we'll get that together, fully support and sign out, add in some extra dollars for you. Just to piggyback on Councilman Casey through the chair, you and I've talked about this before. Dugan Park. What's my folks over there? We don't got to say their name. You know who we talk about. Just absolutely tearing up the grass and parking on that field. We could talk about it, after the meeting, but and the problem with Dugan Park is there's no parking, period. Unless you park in the plaza, Greenlight Plaza, and walk through the walkway past the 2 apartment buildings there and come out on the other side. But, they're blocking up the street, parking on the grass. I mean, literally putting deep ditches in the grass at Dugan Park. And residents are not happy about that. Fully support the kids. They're like, listen, Councilman, they have to do better. Leaving their garbage and trash and other things all over the park. Then of course I talked to them. Well, it's coming from the building, but I'm not looking. What I'm looking at is not the building. I'm looking at you all that are here, and so want to be supportive, or continue to be supportive as we all are. But some of those little nuances has to be addressed. So if you can put Dugan Park on your list, and I know I'll chat with the department as well, so we can collectively kind of encourage different behavior. you know, the removable ballot in the middle, pop
Yeah.
that up, you know, and pull right in and spread out.
Yes,
So between the commissioner, director, yourself, and myself, we need to figure out how we address the parking for the folks at Dukin. All right? Thank you.
Will do.
All right, Councilman Harrison, you done? Done. All right, thank you. Any other further questions on ordinance number 309, 2024? Seeing no further questions, ordinance number 309, 2024 is approved. Please sign it. Thank you to our guests.
Thank you, Council.
All right, next up, I'm going to have ordinance number 328, 2024. By council members Bishop and Griffin. This is also a departmental request. An emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Works to enter into an agreement with Neighborhood Leadership Institute to implement educational, recreational, and cultural programs in various school buildings and other facilities during evening hours, providing leadership training, and supervise the summer tennis program. Okay, Commissioner.
Thank you, Chair. Programming is designed to improve self-image, foster a sense of belonging, nurture relationships, and instill a sense of community while providing an opportunity for fun through athletics, aerobics, fine arts, family life, community forums, and of course the summer tennis programs. The schools as a neighborhood resource program is a community-based program in city areas considered service deficient. NLI conducts workshops in conjunction with the division's youth development project and oversees the summer tennis program. Classes are offered to residents at no cost at several locations. The current amount that we were looking to get this time is $140,977, and I do have staffing here for any questions or comments.
Okay. Director, could you repeat that number again?
I'm sorry. I said the wrong number. I apologize. The new number is $289,511.
Okay. Councilman Casey, you got a comment? Yeah, we can do it now.
Yeah, let's do it now.
Yes. Yes.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to offer an amendment to this piece of legislation. In Section 1, Line 5, it should read, in the amount not to exceed $289,500 payable from fund number. We're keeping the same fund number. So we're just changing the $430,488.75 to $289,500.
Okay, there's an amendment on the floor by Councilman Casey. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, is there any discussion? Councilman Harrison.
I guess I didn't hear the reason for the amendment to reduce the contract amount.
Okay, historically, in the last, Director, can you tell us how many dollars that we've been given this program over the last couple of years? Can you go back as far as you can verify?
So through the to the chair right now, from my understanding, we've been doing about 289,000. I think
Yes.
last year was about that amount. Years prior to that, it may have been a little less, but I can get back to you to give you the exact number on the year. But I know last year was 289.
About 289,000? Okay. All right, Councilman Harrison?
Okay. Just didn't know what the reason for the amendment was, but okay.
Through the chair to the council member, it's my understanding that there was a request for an increase, but it was just not in our budget. So we had to continue with the 289,000.
Oh, okay. There we go. Okay, got it.
Okay, can you, okay, so let's continue on with the amendment. All right, is there any other comments or questions about the amendment? Councilman Starr.
Yes, I know I should second it, but for my terminology, based on what I'm reading is, the contract previously had been $289,511, but this year, Neighborhood Leadership Institute was requesting to have an additional request up to the contract to become more funding as far as $430,000. And to my knowledge, we did not have any discussion during budgeted about this increase. To the chair, to the table.
So, yeah, through the chair to the councilman, honestly, because we weren't at the table,
Okay.
I don't know if that discussion happened at any level, so we couldn't answer. I couldn't speak to that.
Okay, no problem. I just wanted to make sure I got some clarification on that, because that's what I remember. I don't remember us talking about an increase in this program, and so that's why I see the increase, but I know the contract has always been $289,000. So, all right.
All right, so those in favor of the amendment, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Okay, so ordinance number 328, 2024, as amended. Is there any objections to this ordinance?
Actually, I have a question.
All right, Councilman, okay, first, before we go to questions, is there any objections? No. All right, I'm gonna go to Councilman Starr, and then I'm gonna come back to Councilman Casey.
Thank you. So my one question I would be, to the chair, to the director, would be, Neighborhood Leadership Institute is in Ward 5, and I see the sites where the program is taking place at, but I don't see nothing in Ward 5. So my question is there a reason or location regarding that, to the chair?
Through the chair to the councilman, I have with me Executive Director of NLI, Mr. Travell Harp.
Yep.
In short, the reason why, if you're talking about SNRs,
Yes.
SNRs are in locations throughout the city that do not have recreational services. So you have Lonnie Burton, you also have Central, so you have a location in Ward 5.
All right. Thank you for that clarification. And that's all I had, Chair.
Okay, all right, thank you, Councilman Starr. Councilman Brian Casey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, to either the commissioner, director, or our guests, do you have to pay rent to CMSD?
Yes, we do, sir.
And Mr. Chairman, to, I don't know your name.
Travell Harp.
Mr. Hartman, do you know how much we pay CMSD?
So let me just put a little context to it. So I took over Neighborhood Leadership Institute. Actually, my year anniversary was April 3rd, so this is a year.
Congratulations.
And really becoming more acclimated to the program. Some of the things that I experienced when coming on is that I found out that NLI was subsidizing a lot of the program, and we just can't afford to do that long term. Some of the things that happen, I know there's a lot of transition with the schools as well. But I was told one particular dollar amount, and then I received an invoice like $77,000 for like the collective rent for to use the facilities and that kind of thing. Now we did some work around, but some other increased costs as well. And so just mind you, this program is School as Neighborhood Resources has been around for a little bit over 30 years. And basically what it does, it gets everyday residents to actually be active participants in their own deliverance in the sense of being able to provide safe recreational services to the community. So you have residents who have a wealth of knowledge and they want to teach basketball or they want to teach knitting or cooking and that kind of stuff, and then we can actually pay them to do that. And for a long time when I came on to the organization, we were paying them $11.25 an hour to do that. And they've been consistent and very loyal to the program, but there's been a lot of complaints about that. And so one of the things we wanted to do was bump them up to $15 an hour. Another sort of like thing that happened there as well. So before I got there was a relationship with, just everyday people that provided security for the schools, and they would just stay a couple extra hours and everything to actually provide security for the recreational programs that we do. And we all know, just with I guess the time that we're in right now, security is very important, just to say the least. But this year, right when I came on, they basically said, well, the labor union that's responsible for the security guards in school says, you have to pay our union rates, and our union rates are $50 an hour. And so that drastically increased our overhead. And so the additional ask that we had for the 430 versus the 289, it's just like an antiquated amount. And over the years, I guess, a lot has been like subsidizing portions of the program. And just me coming on, what I'm trying to do is make sure that we can still provide this service to the community, because it's a great service that's needed. I mean, not only the SNR program where we actually go out and we find everyday residents and we pay the residents to give back to their community, and they're bringing their wisdom and their knowledge to actually invest in the community that's surrounding, and there's a lot of participation within the communities that it serves. We also do programs around with roughly about 110 rec students with our Youth Leadership Cleveland, which is sort of like a youth version of our adult program, which is Neighborhood Leadership Cleveland. And basically, we take them through coursework. We take them through things ranging from how do you interact with a police officer, to filling out the college application, to giving back to your community. And so we run those programs as well. And then the final program is the tennis program, because we know in our community, a lot of our young people are not even introduced to tennis and that kind of thing. And so that's what we do. And then so what I did was I readjusted the budget to reflect the actual cost of us running the program, including our program manager who actually runs the program, and I included in there the true costs, as well as like healthcare and all the other kind of things that normally is kind of like is very scarce as far as like paying our community workers enough to actually do these things, and so we want to make sure that we have that in there, and so that reflects why we had that increase in there.
Mr. Chairman, to our guest, that was a lot.
Yeah, it was. I'm sorry.
I think the question was, how much are we paying CMSD?
Yeah, 77,000.
77,000. Mr. Chairman, so it's a shame that CMSD still isn't in the room, because you talk about the lack of being a good community partner, right? We just give them $960,000. We just give them $1 million for their SEEP program, and we've got the leadership, the Neighborhood Leadership Institute, doing the right thing and providing the services to our youth in areas of the city that do not get covered by a rec center, and CMSD is turning around and charging us $77,000. What we ought to do, Mr. Chairman, is that finance is decrease the SEEP contract that we're going to give with them, since we're here with Public Works, by $77,000, and increase this one by $77,000, and send a message to CMSD. If you don't want to be a partner with the kids of the city of Cleveland, charging us $77,000 to basically have the buildings open, when those are taxpayer-funded buildings to begin with, just doesn't set right. And this is not a reflection, Mr. Chairman, to our guests, not a reflection on you at all, but it irks the heck out of me that CMSD comes to us with the same spiel that we're getting here, right, except they're not willing to be partners and say, hey, listen, what do we got here? We've got 7 schools. Mr. Chairman, to our guests, how many hours, so for 2 hours, for 6 hours a week, right, they can't keep their schools open. They can't come in and open the schools to service the kids that probably attend their own schools. It doesn't set right. It just really doesn't. It does not send a good message. CMSD is not sending a good message by charging for this, especially $77,000 for a summer. Mr. Chairman, to our guest, when does your program start and when does it end?
So we're talking about 3 different programs, and so
I'm just talking about what we're being charged for the schools, because
so school is neighborhood.
the tennis is in our parks, correct, and we're not charging them
Tennis are at our courts.
to be in our parks, right? Correct.
That's correct.
Thank God.
That's correct.
So SNR goes from November to March, and then we do summer Collinwood from June for the months of June and July.
Yeah. So we're talking the summer months, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So the bulk of the SNR programs goes from November to March, and then summer Collinwood, which is the only program that we do. I mean, so we do Collinwood during November or March as well.
Either way, Mr. Chairman, to our guests and the director and the commissioner, you see where I'm coming with this, with CMSD charging neighborhood leadership an institute for the use of the buildings. I just that doesn't sit well, right? And listen, I understand union contracts and all that other stuff, and you got to pay to have somebody on site, but whatever. But for the love of Pete, right? If CMSD wanted to come into one of our rec centers for a program, we're not going to charge them, right? We're just going to open it up and say it's the right thing to do for the kids in the neighborhood.
That's right.
CMSD this is putting another black eye on CMSD, especially with what they have coming up in the future. But I don't know, Mr. Chairman. I support the program, but I think we need to have conversations away from the table prior to finance regarding CMSD, especially knowing now that they're charging $77,000 for rent for a program that services their own kids. I would assume. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Casey. All right, is there any other questions on ordinance number? All right, Councilman Starr.
No, just a point from what Councilman Casey was saying. As I'm looking at the numbers, that means that 950 will go to 873,000, and then the 289,000 will probably go up to $366,000. Which should be some change. So I definitely think we should have a robust conversation. And yes, I will be at Finance Committee today, so we can definitely talk about some of these things that we are discussing today. And I thank you, Councilman Casey, for bringing that to a point and understanding of what's going on, as well as Commissioner Kinsey-Tanner for explaining how the program works and operates, and Mr. Harp for also doing the work that he does. So I look forward to discussing this further offline as well as at Finance.
All right, thank you, Councilman Starr. All right, seeing no further questions.
Mr. Chair.
Councilman Anthony Harrison.
Thank you, and I'll be brief. I know we have another chairs meeting in 15 minutes. Fully support this program. The summer at Collinwood and Collinwood High School has been a big help for that South Collinwood neighborhood. There's no recreational activities anywhere in that particular area. At one point, we also used the church on Aspenwall, but due to issues with upkeep and just kind of maintenance of the facility, we no longer provide services there. So summer at Collinwood and summer in Collinwood High School as a SNR has been a very, very, very big help and a blessing to that community. A lot of folks from that South Collinwood neighborhood does not want to travel way over to Lakeshore, right? Some that go there, a lot of our older population will travel to Collinwood for the Senior Walkers Club and other programs, but the younger folks in the middle age, they kind of go and utilize Collinwood High School. And so this has been very big help. And I'm sad to hear that, as Councilman Casey brought out, the amount of money that the CMSD are charging you for, 2 hours? Most of them are 2 hours, 3 days a week.
Yeah, 6 hours a week.
Yeah, 2 hours, 6 to 8, 3 days a week, majority, and then obviously Collinwood is Monday to Friday, 12 to 4, and that's in June and July. The amount of money they are, and this body should really have a conversation with CMSD and administration about figuring out a better way to support NLI in the work that you are doing. I mean, you're doing great work in the community. A couple of my residents work with you in the program who are also teachers within CMSD. They help during the summer program, and I believe she helps in the evening as well. And I hear all about the great work that the organization is doing, and we want to be able to support the organization in any way possible. So fully support the piece, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilman Harrison. All right, seeing no further questions, ordinance number 328-24 is approved as amended. Please sign. All right, thank you. Thank you to our guests. All right, you got 2 more pieces, Director? Okay, ordinance number 329-2024, by Council Members Bishop and Griffin. This is also a departmental request. An emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Works to employ one or more professional consultants to provide security services at various indoor and outdoor recreation facilities, including but not limited to recreation centers, outdoor pools, and various surrounding play areas for a period not to exceed 1 year. Okay, Director.
Thank you, Chair. This piece is to hire security providers who are qualified companies with experience in interacting with children and a thorough knowledge of security services to increase the safety and security at various city recreation centers, outdoor pools, and surrounding play areas. The officers are expected to be good role models for young people, directly participate in activities with children, encourage young people to pursue careers within safety forces, direct children and their guardians to appropriate social service agencies when needed. They also work with others to provide the best environment possible for each youngster. This time we are projected to use $2.4 million on full-time hires for the program. This increase is a result going from 4-hour coverage to 8-hour coverage going forward. When rec centers have low visits or shortages, we will move. We're working to make sure we move folk to the security services to the right locations if there is a shortage or there are gaps that we experience due to some of the shortages across the country. We are making sure that we have remedies in place to make sure we stay covered as best as we can going forward. I have Commissioner Gibson-Tanner here for any questions.
Okay, Director, is this this contract, how much is this contract worth?
Let's see that. Yeah, 2.4. Yeah, I'm sorry. To the chair, it's about $2.4 million this year.
Okay, we
That's
don't have that
projection.
figure in the legislation? Or in the white paper?
Should be in there. It should be in there.
Not to exceed, I guess.
Or is it, or are you having a summary? Okay, it's on the summary. Okay, is this, now, during budget, we put aside how much for this contract, Director? Is it $2 million?
From what we, chair to the chair, what we remember is about the $2.4 million. That was what.
It was $2.4 million?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
To the chair, it's double what we had asked in the past. In the past, about 1.2 million, so it was about double that.
Okay. And the year before that, do you remember how much the contract was the year before?
It was about 1.2.
1.2? Okay, so it's double. More than double. All right. I'm going to open this up for my colleagues. Questions? Councilman Starr.
Thank you, Chair. So my question would be to the chair, to directors. When this contract for the security at our recreation center, it was $1.2 million. Was it for the same 21 locations?
I got it. Through the chair to the councilman, yes, the same recreation locations as well as outdoor pools. The purpose of the increase is we're going from now half a day, where before it was 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock Monday through Friday, and 2 to 6 on Saturdays. Now we're looking for an increase to go from 12 to 8 total operational hours Monday through Friday, and 10 o'clock to 6 on Saturdays.
Okay, so now it's having security full-time at all locations instead of part-time.
That is correct.
So my question would then be, through the chair to commissioner and as well as directors, have we thought about looking at our safety department? And what I mean by that is we have, I believe, $230 million to our CPD department. And we have 21 locations, and we know our police officers are operating 12-hour shifts currently. And we know the residents are asking for the police to be present in our community and more engaged and to do more community policing. So my question would be, through the chair, have we explored the options of possibly saying, putting the police officers in there for those first 8 hours of their day, and then the other 4 hours in the shift, they do different type of patrol, because we can possibly offset this $2.4 million. Because from my thought, obviously safety is first. You can't do nothing without safety. If we can possibly have, say for instance, we got, I think, 48 or 51 members in the police academy. If we had something set up as far as a program, but as soon as they come out the academy for a year or two or the first 3 years, you work in 8 hours inside the rec, and you might float around different recreations, and then that other 4 hours patrolling. That could then say we can move this $2.4 million into more programming for our possible recreation centers. So my question is, I know we're going through some different changes. Have we explored possibility of implementing a way where we can have the police to be able to staff it with some people that are police officers for this 8-hour shift that we need in our rec centers, and to offset this cost so we can possibly do some other things with this $2.4 million through the chair to the table?
Thank you. Through the chair to the council member, I did start these conversations with former Director Howard, and we were looking at some things going forward. Most of the conversation was about letting them get the opportunity to get their staffing levels in a more amenable place, and then to start looking at some options for the recreation centers. So I do believe that those will be conversations that we have going forward. However, just because of the timing, we figured it was best to go ahead and get this in place, and then we could always make any kind of changes going forward as we get a more stable workforce around in the safety group. So to your point, this is an ongoing conversation that I do believe will be picked up now that the leadership is now in place with public safety. So expect some more dialogue on that going forward.
Yep, because I do, like I said, thank you, Director, as well as Commissioner. I do support this ordinance, but I just want to make sure we're getting the most for our buck. And I believe that I always speak on for recreation, they need more. We can't be asking Commissioner Gisseltaner, we can't be asking our city recreation general managers and center managers to do more, and they don't have enough resources. And I think we come from that era where we could take $2.4 million and make it look like $5 million in programming if we stretch it out and hit the right program. So I just think within our safety department and within their officers and working 12-hour shift, they should be able to get inside our rec centers, do their 8 hours with our rec, and then they can do their patrolling or any other assignments that they may have after that. And I think that could be the case in point of better community policing, because then you know that officer, and then the officer knows the kids, then the officer knows the seniors, then the officer knows who is in the community, what neighborhoods, and then it could be like every quarter they rotate to different locations. So you start thinking about, okay, 21 locations, all right, we got a pool of 30 police officers who's doing this different type of work, and it keeps them involved in the community, keeps them understanding what's going on, and then you start noticing, because one of the things I remember when I first couldn't play Muni League, I had to play baseball. I remember CMHA, they had the POW, and it was a police officer who lived right across the walk from me. It was Officer Smith Jones. And those two officers, one lived right across the walk from me. So he knew what I was up to, knew my name, saw me every day, and then he was coaching me everything. So it became a point, even if I was horsing around coming from school or something, he would see me. Then he will catch me at practice and get on me, and was able to then talk to my mom and let her know why he's on me. And those type of things help with the community policing, and also instill the trust with the police, so people not just always see them when something's wrong and they reactive. It can be more of a proactive approach. So I know we're going through department changes. I know we're looking at different things. We want to make sure our recreations are secured and safety, but definitely also want to explore some of this things that we got up, because I was having a conversation with some folks, and they were talking about metal detectors inside the schools, metal detectors inside the rec, the images. Is it compared to similar to what they're doing inside prisons? So there's a lot going on. So overall, with the safety approach, I think we want to take a holistic approach, and I know we're doing some different changes. So I definitely would look forward to having further discussion, and also figuring out how we can offset this $2.4 million when we got police officers who's getting paid, to do this work instead of contracting it out with somebody. Let our police do some things that they are really great at, and I think it could be really beneficial. So thank you. That's all I have, Chair.
All right, thank you, Councilman Starr. Is there any other questions?
Yes.
Councilman Anthony Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Fully support the piece, but I just want to offer a couple comments. Have we considered going a different direction with the safety and security at our pools and recreation centers? And what I'm thinking about is, community relations has the neighborhood interrupters, right? They have young staff who works at the schools, work with young people. Many of the same kids are at the schools that they're working with are also coming to the parks and pools, right, in the recreation center. Have we thought about, when school is out, adding some additional funding to community relations to then have their summer work is then transitioned to the pools and playgrounds and recs during the summertime? And they may do it just kind of, randomly, but to really get them to focus in on the places now where the kids that they're used to working with, right, have been working with during the school year, are now at the facilities during the summertime. Have we considered that?
Through the chair to the councilman, actually, we have a great partnership with community relations where those interrupters are actually in our rec centers. So they're in the school during the day, but then after school, they also come to the recreation centers. So very close partnership with community community relations. However, as far as the funding that they receive, I'm assuming that their current budget covers that because I do see them in my recreation center.
Right, and I get that they show up in the recreation centers every now and then now, right? But I'm talking about for this piece, this is for indoor pools, rec centers, and parks, right? Well, indoor pools and rec centers, right? For the summertime, right? Mm-hmm. But how do we get them more engaged during this period of time that we're going to hire police officers, off-duty officers, to get them more engaged? Because the difference between what I've seen of the armed officers and guards at a pool in the summertime, there's no interaction for real, right? Unless you get that one he's just that, or she's that type of person, right? Most of the time, you're standing there, you look like enforcement. Don't act up, right? Because I'm gonna get you. Yeah. But the difference is with the men and women who's in community relations or some of our violence interrupters, like we got Walk down in the central neighborhood, right? You got Hank Davis and Icons, you got Moochie, you got I can name all the other places across the city where you have these groups who are doing great work in our schools and work with our young people. Have we thought about going that route? Maybe we can reach the kids a little bit better when they are out of school and they're no longer being supervised, right? Like they are during the school time, more so in the summer. They're kind of, you hanging out, you enjoying yourself, right? Yeah. But if we can keep some level of hands-on with them while they're at the pool in the summertime or even at the rec center in the summertime, to me, I think that's how you can begin to really fade away the need to even have a police officer presence at some of these facilities. I mean, I'm just thinking, having us to think differently, right? And I'm gonna pull it up. There's a community who did just that. They hired adults from their neighborhoods. They had more older people who were there. They hired them to work at the rec centers and the parks and the playgrounds during the summer times when they're out of school, and dealt with them differently. And that decreased their need to have police be there, right? Because you got adults there who are, majority of the kids are gonna, respect the adults. You got a handful that's like, it don't matter who you are, I'm not having it, right? And the police as well. But the majority of the kids, can benefit from having just adults there who can talk with them, who can recognize that they may be going through something, right? Or see something differently that the police are not going to pay attention to, right? Some of them may not pay attention to. So I would ask that, because really Public Works is the administration side of it, but your team, Commissioner, and CRB and others really kind of come together and think about that a little bit differently. Like how do we can change the way we interact with young people at our facilities and not just utilize enforcement through police officers or law enforcement, right?
Right.
And I know, and the director, he got 50 million things already on his plate, so that's what I'm talking to you, Commissioner. Right?
Understood.
You and your counterpart down in CRB to really kind of think about how maybe we can do that, even deploying those raised security cameras in the air, right? Maybe having those as kind of that police deterrent, right? But have people, adults there, enforce, have a presence, and be that at-home figure that they need when they're out. And so, I'm gonna pull that information of the city that did that, and it worked wonders for them. They no longer had to employ hundreds of police officers to utilize them at their pools and playgrounds.
Through the chairman to the councilman, excellent points. I would definitely have a conversation with Director Shute-Woodson on that point. I think that's excellent direction to go in to also try to, make sure we save dollars on the safety end when it comes to our recreation facilities. So excellent point.
Saving dollars, and I'll wrap up, Mr. Chair. I know we have to go. It's saving, yes, but also just a different interaction with our young people, right?
Understood.
They want to see some mothers and fathers out there who don't play no games, right? Come here. And that's all it could take for some kids, right, for them to do right or just begin to think differently during those summer months where they're not in school. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you, Councilman Harrison. All right, is there, Councilman
Yes.
Starr?
Thank you. I would like to make a motion to amend this.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor.
So right here in ordinance number, where the section at is ordinance 329-2024, right under section 1, second paragraph, where it says the compensation to be paid for the services shall not be fixed by the Board of Control. We would like to add not to exceed $2.4 million.
Okay, Councilman Starr has a motion on the floor to read in section 1, right after the compensation to be paid for services shall be fixed by the Board of Control and not to exceed $2.4 million. Is there a second for that motion? All right, is there any discussion? Is there any comments? All right, those in favor of the amendment say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed say no. Okay, the ayes have it. Okay, ordinance number 329-2024, as amended, stands approved. All right, is there any questions? All right, please sign it.
All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. All right, this is your last piece right here, Commissioner. I mean, not Commissioner, I'm sorry, Director. Ordinance number 306-2024 by Council Members Bishop and Griffin. This is also a departmental request. An emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Works to exercise the first option to renew contract number RC 2022-25 with Rumpke of Ohio, Inc. for the transfer, disposal, and processing of recyclable materials. Okay, Director.
Thank you, Chair. I'll try to be brief. The processing of recyclable material to sort, separate, bale, and prepare collected materials to be recycled. This program is growing. It's doing very well. I have Mr. Brumfield here who handles sustainability for the department, but I wanted to make mention of the fact that in our recycling, our enrollment as of 4/10/24 this year is almost 75,000 households, and we've been really doing really well with this program. Since the current program started, Cleveland has kept more than 11 million pounds of recyclable material out of the landfill. And so I think that this is a program that is definitely moving forward, and we appreciate your support.
Okay, Director, before we move to what's your title?
Recycling coordinator.
through the coordinator to the man. Director, can you speak to, we had a conversation last week about the recyclable program when we sent out the instructions and the stickers for the carts and the cans for our residents to kind of get acclimated to the program. Can you speak to that situation where you had discovered that it never made it to some of the customers that it was intended to make it to?
Thank you. Through the chair to the council members, what we found were not at a fault of anyone from the city, but we were mailing out our mailers, and we did find out that in certain circumstances, some neighborhoods weren't receiving their mail for various reasons, and we got a lot of mail returned back and a lot of those packets back that we had to go and either re-deliver or personally go out and deliver them by hand. We are working to talk with the Postmaster General to correct this issue or find out what the issue is, but as of right now, it hasn't been happening as of late, but it did impact us last year in a major way.
Okay, so Director, have we been reimbursed for those so that the mail that was not delivered by the U.S. Postal Service?
Through the chair, or to the chair, this is just starting, so I've just now brought it to their attention. We do hope to recoup some of those costs because we do have the return mail in our possession now.
Okay, and to the Director, was that first-class mail? Was it bulk mail? What rate was that? Do you know? Can you,
To the chair, I'm sorry, I don't
you don't know? Okay, okay.
To the chair, that was through bulk mail.
That was through bulk mail?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So, Director, this is a renewal, right? And so is this a one-year option to renew? This is a renewal, correct?
To the chair, when we originally got this piece of legislation, it's a total of 5 years, but the first couple of years we can go, but for the renewals, we had to come back to council to get the approval for that. So that's where we sit today, to be able to have 2 more renewals.
You have 2 more renewals after this? Okay.
That's correct.
Do any of so the first renewal, you need legislative authority for the first renewal, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so the subsequent renewals, do you need legislative authority for those?
That, honestly, to the chair, that's not clear on that. I'm not sure on that. So I believe that this body would probably be able to say, yes, you can, or no, you need to come back based on what we do today.
Okay. All right, I'm going to open it up for my colleagues for questions. Councilman Casey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, to our recycling coordinator, what percentage of the city has opted in to recycling now?
Through the chair, since we have 75,000 households out of the estimated 150,000 households, I would say it's 50%.
50%?
Yes.
Are we at the point yet at 50%, Mr. Chairman, to our coordinator, that the city is at least breaking even, if not making money on recycling yet?
Through the chair, we're at a point where we have gotten some rebates on that. As far as breaking even, I would say we have not broken completely even yet. We have paid, and anything beyond that, I would.
All right, Mr. Chairman,
So through the chair to the councilman, we've not broken even, but I can tell you, to Mr. Brumfield's point, we have gotten some rebates. We spent about almost $250,000 for this, but that's a significant reduction of what we would have paid. Given our previous, we had a 65% contamination rate. We probably would have paid about maybe $300 or so per ton. Now we're paying about 119 per ton, but we also get a discount because they're shares. So as the market gets better, we get more of the revenue share.
All right, and then you almost answered my second question. What's the contamination rate down to? I know we were at over 60% at one point, correct? What are we down to?
All right, through the chair, currently we are at 25% contamination.
Okay.
Now, in that first year, the first audit that we had, we were at 15%. Now, when we're at 15%, we were at roughly 30,000 households that were signed up. So now the program has grown, the contamination got a little bit bigger, but we're still below the threshold before we get fined for any of that contamination.
Okay. And then, Mr. Chairman, to the director, Can people still opt into recycling?
Through the chair to the council member, absolutely.
Okay. And then my last question, Mr. Chairman, to the director is, when are we going to start pulling the blue cans? Because I have a funny feeling that when we start pulling the blue cans, we're going to see our opt-in go up, but then our contamination also may go up as well, because they're just going to continue to use the blue can for garbage.
Through the chair to the council member, the intent is to be able to pull the carts this summer. We should be starting a socialized conversation about that during the month of June.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilman Case. All right, any other questions on ordinance number 306?
No, can I make an amendment, Chair?
All right, there's a motion on the floor to make an amendment. Okay, go ahead, Councilman Starr.
For ordinance number 306-2024, under section 1, where it says this ordinance constitutes the additional legislative authority required by ordinance number 195-2020 to exercise this option, and all remaining please include all remaining renewals need legislative authority in addition.
Okay, all right, there's a motion by Councilman Starr to include a section
Under section 1?
Under section 1, that all subsequent renewals need legislative authority. Is there a second for that motion? Councilman Harrison seconds that motion. Is there any discussion? All right.
Just for you to know, this ordinance gives the legislative authority to exercise the first option, and the original ordinance 195-2020 passed March 2nd provides for the first of the one-year options to renew to be exercised by the Director of Public Works only if additional legislative authority is obtained. And if such additional legislative authority is granted, the second and third one-year options to renew may be exercised at the option of the Director of Public Works without the necessity of obtaining additional authority of this council. So it appears that 195-2020, which already gives the director that authority, would need to be amended for you to be able to implement the proposed amendment, if that makes sense.
Okay, so you're saying that we got to go back and amend ordinance number 195?
It appears that that would be the mechanism to achieve what Councilman Starr is proposing.
Okay.
Because this specific ordinance provides the legislative authority for the first renewal option,
right,
as per ordinance number 195-2020.
Okay.
So that would be the way to do it.
Okay, all right, okay. All right, Councilman Starr?
So therefore, we're going to bring back ordinance 195 in order for us to do that?
Yeah, we'll bring back 195, but you want to withdraw the motion? Okay.
So I will withdraw my motion until we bring back 195 to be able to do that.
All right, okay, no problem. All right, the motion by Councilman Starr is withdrawn. All right, is there any other questions on ordinance number 306, 2024? Seeing no further questions, ordinance 306, 2024 is approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, last but not least, capital projects. Okay, ordinance number 418, 2024, by council members Bishop and Harrison and Griffin, by departmental request, an emergency ordinance to vacate a portion of Curtis Avenue Northeast, east of East 59th Street. Okay, Director. Good morning. I mean, almost afternoon.
Good morning. So, Mr. Chairman, this is for a vacation of a street. Just to remind council that there's 3 steps to the vacation process. This is the third of 3 steps. First is a resolution of intent to vacate, then Board of assessment of revisions meets, and then we pass the ordinance to actually vacate the street. So we're at the last part of this vacation. Curtis Avenue is east of East 59th Street, and it's kind of right in the middle of the Magnet campus. So they're seeking to vacate the street so that it's no longer a public right-of-way.
Okay, whose ward is this in? Director?
This should be in Councilwoman House Jones's. Yeah.
We have consent.
Yep, and we do have consent signed.
Okay, is there any questions? Now we'll open up for questions. Is there any questions on ordinance number 418, 2024?
Chair, one question I will ask is, have this went through DPS yet, or is this going to DPS after this? Yep, no, thank you.
All right. Any other questions on ordinance number 418? Seeing no further questions, ordinance number 418, 2024 is approved. Please sign it.
Thanks. Sure.
Have a good day.
All right, ordinance number 403, 2024, by council members Bishop and Harris by departmental request. This is also an emergency ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Works and Capital Projects to execute various deeds of permanent, temporary, and subterranean easements granting to the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District certain easement rights at or under several city-owned properties for NEORSD's Southerly Tunnel and Consolidation Project, and declaring that easement rights not needed for city's public use. Okay, Director?
Mr. Chairman, so I'll go through this ordinance for you, but first I wanted to introduce Cassie Slansky from Division of Real Estate, who's to my right. So this is an ordinance to grant or to sell permanent, temporary, and subterranean easements within and under city properties in furtherance of the sewer district's Project Clean Lake, which is a 25-year program to reduce outfalls into Lake Erie. And I've been at the table many times for different projects throughout the city. This particular one is for the Southerly Tunnel and Consolidation Project, SOTC. And so this is for the southern part of our city. And essentially what they do is they create large tunnels underground to hold stormwater, and then slowly let it out so that it can go through, this one would go through the Southerly Wastewater Treatment Center to be cleaned before released into the Cuyahoga River. So the ultimate goal for all of these Project Clean Lakes is to in areas where you have a combined sewer, to hold the water so that it doesn't combine with wastewater, and go so that storm doesn't combine with waste and go out into our rivers and lakes. So this particular project, it'll cross portions of land owned by the city at the Harvard Garage, which is at 4150 East 49th Street, Morgana Run Trail, Dolph Road Municipal Parking Lot, and then there's a vacant piece of property at East 65th Street and Bessemer Avenue. Altogether, this SOTC is nearly 3.5 miles in length. The deep tunnel will be in cities of Cleveland, Newburgh Heights, and Cuyahoga Heights. And altogether, there would be one permanent surface easement, 4 permanent subterranean easements, and 2 temporary easements from the city. These would be sold at appraised value, which is $32,700. And this goes into Ward 5 with Councilman Starr, Ward 12 with Councilwoman Moorer. And Commissioner DeGennaro informed me that folks have been informed about this project. So with that, I'd like to open it to any questions or details about the easements.
Okay, Director, this is a project that would promote clean water, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, all right, we're all for clean water. Is there any questions on ordinance number 403, 2024? All right, seeing no further questions on ordinance number 403, 2024 is approved. Please sign.
Thanks, Cassie. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know that was going to be this quick.
Yeah. Underground, yeah, everything's totally underground. No impact. to-
Okay, last but not least, ordinance number 332, 2024, by council members Bishop and Griffin. This is also a departmental request authorizing the Director of Capital Projects on behalf of the Office of Sustainability to apply for and accept a grant from the United States Department of Energy for their Energy Efficient Conservative Block Grant Program, determining the method of making the public improvements of designing and constructing various types of energy efficiency improvements on up to 6 neighborhood resource and recreation centers, and authorizing the director to enter into one or more contracts for making of the improvement. Okay, Director.
Mr. Chairman, so I'll start out this presentation. I'll hand it over to Director O'Keefe, and she can introduce her team and also give a little bit more details about the program. But as you mentioned, this is in collaboration and partnership with the Office of Sustainability, and the Department of Energy has a program called the Energy Efficiency Conservation Block Grant Program, and they have what's called a formula grant, which means that cities are entitled to a certain amount of money based upon their population, and our grant would be in the amount of $386,000. So we are preparing a grant application for that program, and it would essentially be enhancing a few of our rec centers by cleaning, if you will, the energy, the electricity as it comes into the rec center. And from a capital projects perspective, I wanted to highlight that this is important to us because it really strengthens existing rec centers so that they may be used in the time of a disaster, whether it's too much heat or too much cold, to further the City of Cleveland's goals and also the mayor's priorities and the Office of Emergency Management's goals. So with that, I'd like to hand it over to Director O'Keefe.
Okay, Director.
Hi, good morning, Chairman and council members. I just wanted to introduce my associate. This is Mike Bean. He is the Energy Program Manager for the Mayor's Office of Sustainability and has been leading this project in coordination with the Office of Emergency Management and Property Management. I think that Director DeRosa did a good job of summing up what the program is. Just a little bit of bigger context nationally is that local and national energy grids are the loads are projected to increase. And so this would just give us the added resilience for our power. This is really about resilient power systems for critical resource centers, our recreation and resource centers. And this would give us a methodology for using this in other buildings, not just city-owned buildings, but across the city as well. So we can take any questions if you'd like.
Okay, all right. So this is going to improve the energy efficiency of our recreation centers, correct? More in a nutshell.
To the chairman, yes. And it will also improve the power going to, the conditioning of the power going to equipment, so it protects our current assets within a building.
Okay.
Specifically.
All right. All right. Is there any questions on ordinance number? Councilman Brian Casey.
Mr. Chairman, to the director, when's the grant due?
Go ahead.
To the, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Through the chairman, the grant application is due October 31st, 2024. It was due April 30th. There's an extension for across the nation.
And then, Mr. Chairman, to the director, do we know which rec centers are going to be upgraded?
So there is a list of 22 rec centers that are part of what's called the Crisis Services Annex and the Emergency Ops Plan and the Sheltering Annex and Cooling Centers. Out of that list, 5 of them have risen to the top based on site surveys with property management, emergency management, and energy management. Those are the Collinwood, Frederick Douglass, Michael Zone, Estabrook, and Fairfax are currently being surveyed. Collinwood was completed, and the others are in process.
Mr. Chairman, to the director, are you going to survey all 22 rec centers?
Through the chairman, we will be surveying these 5 to get an initial understanding of what can be done at these rec centers first, and then we'll have a methodology to go on to other locations. So yes, they would be surveyed eventually.
Collinwood, what were the other 4?
Collinwood, Michael Zone, Estabrook, Fairfax, which are very similar, those two, and Frederick Douglass. We did start, those are in process.
In process.
Those are in process now.
And of the $386,000, how much is actually going toward the actual infrastructure upgrade?
Over 90% of that funding, so about $356,000.
So you're not hiring any outside consultants or anything on this one?
So those would be contracts. Through the chair, that funding would pay for contract work, and a little bit of training for our existing staff. This program is really meant to support the existing capacity that we have in property management.
And Mr. Chairman, to the director, I know we've already had these conversations offline. Any of this money, how much of this money is going toward, because this is something that's going to need to be done at the majority of all our rec centers,
Yes.
correct? I mean, we're just starting with the top 5, so there's so much more to go on. And I know this is not a large grant, but how much of this is going toward training of our current staff that can do this so that when we get the larger grants in the future, we don't have to spend so much on contracting, and then we're actually training our own staff, our own electricians, our own whoever needs to do it, to be able to do this work for us in the future, even without grants. And I know that, Mr. Chairman, to the director, we've had this conversation.
Yes. So through the chair to the councilman, we have about $10,000 allocated for professional development and training.
Mr. Chairman, to the director, for future legislation, anything regarding a utility, can we please also send it through Utilities Committee as well? I know this is in Chairman Bishop's wheelhouse because it's the rec centers and this committee, but anything utility related, whether it's gas, electric, solar, whatever you want, whatever it is, can we also please add Utilities Committee on top of this? This is a very good learning piece of legislation for Utilities Committee as well on how electricity and clean electricity and all that other stuff flows. So just as a personal preference, as a chairman of another committee, if we could also run these through utilities.
Through the chairman of the council, and we'll go to any committees that are needed. Yep.
All right, is there any other questions on ordinance number 332, 2024? All right, seeing no further questions, ordinance number 332, 2024 is approved. Please sign it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
I hereby adjourn the Municipal Service and Properties Committee.